Salutations! Good morning, good afternoon, and or good evening, wherever you may find yourself orientated within this universe. We hope that you are having a good day. And if not, well, we hope that whatever ails you can be quickly dealt with. And if not, well, we hope that while being here, you're at least able to take your mind off it. We are Ultrasonic Blur, and last time, well, we started off our investigation of a trial and brain fart. Ugh, that's weird. There we go. Yes, but last time we looked into our next case. We found that it was involving with someone called Emma. Her sister was involved. And then it turns out not only is she the chief prosecutor, but she's also the person who has confessed to the crime, so that's just great for us. And then through some poking and prodding, we were kind of able to sort something out. Then we had the chief of police turn up, and then things just got very weird from there. Just because, well, it kind of ended up into a situation where they were like, oh, actually, there's been another murder. And we were like, okay, who's that? Yeah, it's the same person who was killed at the same time in a different place in the exact same way. It doesn't make any sense, to be perfectly honest, but here we are. That's what we're here to try and figure out. Also, as well, Edgeworth kind of got caught up in some red tape because they weren't informed on something, despite the fact that they could have been informed by something. It was a mess, to say the least. So, we've got a lot to try and sort out here. Hopefully, we will be able to do so, because, we're not exactly sure how it's going to be possible to string this one for 3 days, unless we can now try and connect the two cases even further. We've also got this weird SL9 incident, something like that, and it's kind of a mess all over the place, to be perfectly honest, but hopefully we can sort some of these things out. So without much further ado, let's go ahead, get back on into the things that we needed to do so. So yes, there we are. And we will go ahead and continue on from episode 5, Rise of the Ashes, Investigation, Day 2. And let's hope that it goes well. Okay. February 23rd, 2:15 p.m., Wright & Co. Law Offices. Mr. Wright? So, what's going on with the case anyway? I'm a little confused. Huh? Well, let's see. What is going on? So, the victim, Bruce Goodman, was stabbed to death after 5 p.m. on the 21st. He died in the prosecutor's parking lot and the police department's evidence room? What's this and the evidence room part? The prosecutor's office and the police department are 30 minutes apart by car. Yeah, that's the issue. Well, that's what we're here to find out. Or try to, at least. Alright, let's do it. Glad she's in good spirits, but I'm not sure she's going to be much help with this. Don't be so sure, Mr. Wright. Huh? Look, we're in this together, right? I'll prove that these thick-rimmed glasses of mine aren't just for show. Let's go. Science awaits us. Alright then. Well, we're back here. It's not great, but what can we find out then? You know, I really don't think we should be worried about the police department murder. There wasn't even a body found there. Who cares? Yeah, it was only our victim who was killed in the evidence room. No biggie. Besides, my sister would never do such a thing. I know it. That oil drum, was it empty? The oil drum kicked over by the chief prosecutor was brimming with water. My sister erasing evidence at the crime scene? Never. Even though she says they don't get along, Emma really likes her sister. That's not it at all. It's just... we're both professionals at what we do, and I trust her. Big words for a high school student. Well, whether there was blood on the floor or not, the water in that oil drum washed it all away. Ignore the stretch of my science. Ignore the strength of my science at your own peril, Mr. Wright. Huh? What's that grin for? This situation calls for one thing, and that is luminol testing fluid. Luminol? Blood is sticky stuff, you know. You can't just wash it away with a little water. Even if you can't see it, it's still there. But wouldn't the police have already done those tests? Never trust anyone's eyes but your own, Mr. Wright. Very good lesson to learn there. Just give it a try. Me? But why do I have to do it? Well, I'm a minor. I can't even drink yet. Yeah, we're testing bloodstains with this stuff, not drinking it. Here, look. I'll lend you these glasses. Huh? You had an extra pair of these things? Ooh. To test for a blood reaction, just spray the luminol on it. Like this, see? Press enter to spray on it. Okay, let's find out some blood stains. Well, there would be blood around here, would there not? Somewhere around the car, maybe? Oh? We have some here. I can see her eyes shining behind those glasses. So, this is a bloodstain? It's so... ugh. Emma, you're shaking. It's just... this is my first time seeing real blood. Scientific investigation in action, Emma. Okay, well, we definitely know that this is a bloodstain. But doesn't something strike you as odd? Scientifically speaking, of course. Yeah, Bruce Goodman died from a lack of blood due to a stab wound. That seems fairly trivial amounts of blood to lose. What's odd about this, scientifically? The amount of blood. Well, the perpetrator and Detective Goodman fought here, right? Don't you think there'd be a little more blood? I definitely think so. I mean, look at all the blood on the sole of the victim's shoe. Yeah, it is pretty strange. If they fought here, they'd have to have been more blood than this. Hey, Mr. Wright? I'm gonna mark the floor plan with the blood stain. We found it, okay? Yeah. See? I'm pretty handy to have around, right? Yeah. And this stuff's pretty handy too. I saved up my allowance to buy that. Alright. Well, we'll have to have some other uses for that, we hope. We can't be sure that the police will reveal all their evidence in court. Sometimes they fail to mention evidence that doesn't fit with their view of the case. Then let's drag that hidden evidence out into the light of day. Yeah! It feels like we're really investigating a crime now, doesn't it? I guess I should give this a spray on anything suspicious. Ha! I wonder how that fluid of yours would react to a nice deli box. Miss Starr? You only trust your own eyes, Not bad, you two. This day-old deli box is on the house. Sorry, that's just... that kind of lead, it doesn't really get my mouth watering. Well, today's trial. You certainly put me in a tight spot today. My apologies, Miss Starr, but... oh, no, it's okay. It was my fault. Oh, we know. I witnessed everything from that security room right there. But I was afraid that you wouldn't sound convincing enough, you see. I was wrong to think that. I'm sorry. Sorry? You lied on the witness stand! That's unforgivable! Little girl, don't forget what's important here. Even if the place I witnessed the events from was different, I still saw what I saw. I saw Chief Prosecutor Skye stab a man in cold blood, and that testimony still stands. I swear it on my honor as a detective. She stabbed Goodman. I know this photograph has something important to tell us, but what? So, you were a detective, weren't you, Miss Starr? Yes, it was a long time ago. Well, 2 years ago. No matter how hardened the criminal, when they faced me, they coughed it up. Coughed it up? They confessed. They blabbled like babies. You know, I may seem like a demon sometimes, but I can be an angel too. I wouldn't doubt it. Every day I dragged the dirt out of the mouths of suspect after suspect, and before long they called me the cough-up queen. Oh, and here I thought someone had gotten food poisoning from your lunches. And you were let go? Fired? I felt that I'd found my dream job when I became an investigator. And if these prim and proper prosecutors hadn't let me go, I'd still be one today. It's all because of that case. The SL9 incident. What? SL9? Wait, she doesn't mean... what do you think about this? The SL9 incident. It's written on that knife. And on that note. Goodman. Goodman was the head detective on that case, you know. Really? That knife was evidence from that case. The murder weapon. It was due for transferal the very day that Goodman was killed. As I suspected, SL9 isn't over. Not yet. Do you think you could tell us more about the SL9 incident? Yeah. Is it going to be the same thing? Yeah, it's the same thing. Okay. Well, we're okay with that. So let's just move on from that. Yeah. Could you not tell us more about SL9? Maybe we present Bruceman? I had one of those up until 2 years ago. Back when you were the cough-up queen, right? We found this ID card here in this parking lot. Well, there's no mistaking that. It's definitely Goodman's. But it's the same ID as the man who was killed at the police department. That's impossible. Yeah, I wish I could be sure. Could you take a look? Yes? You said you wanted some hot tea, right? No, but thanks. You shouldn't even look at it. You must have to brew the leaves a long time to get a rich flavor like this. We pre-infused the leaves with steam before brewing. I knew it! So that's the secret to their aroma. Exquisite. The only thing I'm smelling here is wasted time. Okay. Maybe the picture? If you think about it, I could have taken that picture from the guard room. But even I get flustered sometimes. So you went straight to the scene of the crime? I rushed towards the chain link fence in an effort to stop the murder. That's when I took this picture, yes. In other words, 5 minutes after the crime? Those 5 minutes are the whole problem. The hole in my testimony, as it were. The 5 minutes weren't the problem, Miss Starr. Your lying was the problem. Listen, little girl. I've had my testimony degraded before, and I wasn't going to have it disregarded again. Just like that time and... That time? Huh? The SL9 incident. That incident's really opened up my eyes to the truth. We're nothing to them. Disposable. Disposable? To who? 2 years ago, it was the biggest case I'd ever handled. The police and the prosecutors were desperate for decisive evidence. Wait, is that Marshall? Marshall, Goodman, and Angel? This is an important case, it seems. So, they didn't solve it? On the contrary, it was solved quite cleanly. The criminal was caught and executed. Executed? Yes, the criminal got what was coming to him. It doesn't get any cleaner than that. The only problem was, they never did find decisive evidence. Not a shred. What? But the criminal was executed, right? On the basis of evidence of a sort. Made up evidence. What? You mean they executed someone with fabricated evidence? The best part came several months after the trial. Every detective involved with the case was dealt with. Some were demoted to patrolman, others found themselves out of a job. And you were one of those. Myself and one other person you know well. Wait, could it be... Exactly. Detective Jake Marshall. Oops. I mean, Police Department Security Detail Officer Jake Marshall. Detective Marshall? As professional detectives, we investigated that case from every angle. Jake was particularly determined. And then, it was over, and he was demoted. However, he hasn't forgotten, and neither have I. You haven't forgotten SL9? There was another side to that case. A hidden side. That's what we're after now. And is that why you have so many, boyfriends in various departments of the police department? And no one up in their fancy offices can stop us. Wait! Those lunches you sell... There is only one reason I come to sell lunches in this accursed office. I come here to meet old friends. Boyfriends that can help me investigate. Miss Star's old boyfriends? Just how many does she have, anyway? Just when all the detectives on SL9 have disappeared, we find new evidence. There has to be a connection here. So, rookie? What? It seems like you're serious about investigating this case. Yes. Then you should take this. Salisbury steak lunch? I know a certain guy who might help you if you tempt him with this treat. Okay. Excellent for putting Officer Marshall in a good mood. Miss Starr? Officer Marshall, is he your... Are you his going out? Why do you want to know? I was just wondering what happened to him. A long time ago, when he was helping my sister do cases, he was so nice. He got along so well with my sister, it made me jealous. And he was nice to me too, back then. This would be when Officer Marshall was a detective. But now he's so cold. Jake and I are merely cooperating on this investigation. We're putting the past to rest, as it were. Nothing more than that. I see. Thank you. Officer Jake Marshall. Well, we should probably move then. I wonder if we can talk to Edgeworth at all. Just might be worth seeing if we can get an angle on his side here. Well, this place is as classy today as it was yesterday. And I'm sure it'll still be just as classy tomorrow, Emma. Incidentally, Edgeworth's not here. I'm sure he's off doing important investigations. Well, I hope that's what he's doing. I guess we'll have to come back. Yeah, we'll have to just come back, see what else we can find. But now, we have the police department. It's even busier here today than it was yesterday. The detectives are running around so fast they're blurring. I suppose it makes sense. The detective did get killed here after all. So, the evidence room. The scene of the crime? According to the pamphlet we got from the front desk... here it is! She's like a kid in an amusement park. Ooh, a real crime scene! Let's go take a look. Emma, we've been at a real crime scene before. Anyway, let's head on up to the guard station. Maybe we'll stop by Criminal Affairs, see if Gumshoe's around. Always good to stop in from him, asking if we can actually go there, you know. Might be a good idea. Wow, everyone looks deadly serious here. Well, there was a vicious murder of a detective down at the police department. Yes, but the same detective was also killed at the same time in the prosecutor's lot. This makes my head hurt. Well, first things first, let's go check out the police department crime scene. Yes, you do sound dead set on investigating. But don't mess up, or we could wind up dead. Yeah, I doubt anyone wants more mysteries or dead bodies around here right now. But it doesn't look like anyone's going to help us much either. Yeah, let's see what we can do at the guard station. And this would likely be where Mr. Marshall hides. We've got several cactuses, some rope on the floor, a lot of bottles of something in the back. Huh. What's with the decor in this place? It's very eccentric. According to the pamphlet, this is the guard station for the evidence room. So beyond that door is the evidence room. The scene of the crime, huh? It sure seems that way. Oh. What's wrong? It's those cacti. They're so prickly. It's imposing. It's hard to think straight. If you can't handle the cacti, stay out of the desert. What I want to know is, if this is a guard station, where is the guard? I have a feeling I know who he is already. Well, let's see what we can examine here then. Maybe we can just go in? Oh, no clues here. The door. The evidence room is beyond that door. Let's just walk in! It won't open! You thought it'd be open? I think we need someone's permission to go in there first. Look on the floor! A lasso! Looks like it's set up to trap something. A trap? Here? Oh wait, I know! Maybe someone was trying to catch a wild bull in here. But the lasso missed! You sure have an active imagination. Well, what else have we got then? Yipes! These sure are prickly. They must be the real deal. I would think just one big one would be sufficient, but here we are. These cacti, they're a lot like my sister, actually. How so? Encased in a cold, rigid shell with spikes pointing in every direction. Just like her. I'm not so sure I see the resemblance. It's more an attitude than a physical similarity. I think you missed the point there on what I was trying to say there, my Emma. There's a security guard uniform hanging there. It looks more like a costume than a uniform, in all honesty. A leather jacket, leather pants, and a leather... What is this thing called again? It's a punchy, a ponchy, or pinchy? Wait, no, I know. It's a poochie. Wait, maybe that wasn't it. It's a poncho. But I think I'll keep that information to myself for the time being. Is there... Do we want to test for, like, luminol, maybe? Spray anything around? In case there's anything on the door? Nothing here. Maybe there's something on the back or anything? What the? What? Wow! We got a reaction! There's clearly blood around the spines here. This room's pretty messy. Someone must have tripped over something and planted their head right into these spines. I think that might be more painful than murdered. Yeah, let's see where else we can head then. Nothing there. This place is charged with frantic energy as always. Please! Huh? Wasn't that... Oh, I'd take lunch, please! Oh, it's you! Ah, Gumshoe! Now's no time for chit-chat, pal. I'm a busy man, says the man who was asking us for a steak lunch. What I really need is a steak lunch from Lunchland. Oh, you mean one of these? Actually, it's not for sale. I think I just heard the sound of his heart breaking. Well, now's no time for despair. We've caught our criminal. Now we just need evidence. The criminal? You mean... You heard about the stabbing in the police department evidence room, right, Belle? Yeah, we heard about that today. On the same day that a detective was killed in the prosecutor's parking lot, another detective was killed at the police department? And the perpetrator? Do you have a suspect? Well, there was a suspect. Just arrested him, in fact. It's the biggest scandal I've hit at the station in ages. Everything's topsy-turvy, pal. But, Detective Gumshoe, who was it? Listen, pal, all I know is I need me a steak lunch at pronto. Standing around here talking ain't gonna fill my belly. Great. Wait, don't leave! If you want to know more, head on down to the detention center, pal. Questioning should be over, so I figured he's good down there having a good cry. Later. He ran off to the evidence room? Well, this investigation is off to a running start. Yeah. We've got something to head to, though. With, yeah. We've got the, Wait, can we not go to the... Maybe we go to criminal affairs? No? The detention center, there we go. Still, I do feel better about things. A little. I mean, they caught the person who stabbed Detective Goodman, didn't they? Yeah, I guess they did. Best not to go too far down that road right now. Things would just get confusing. Meekins? Is that... What was that? Sir! That was me, sir! Me! Perpetrator! Oh, I'd say I was the perpetrator against, sir! That's what I'd say! Meekins? Hi! Greetings, sir! Wait, I know you. You are... Excuse me, but, is Mr. Edgeworth, anywhere on the premises? I'm here, sir, at the request of the chief, sir. I've got your report, sir. You're Officer Meekins. So you're a guard here at the detention center? No, sir, I'm not, sir. I'm a little lost patrolman, like a little lost lamb, sir. Oh, I get it. You're here to deliver a report? No, sir, how should I say this? Wait, he isn't... Is he? You... Officer Meekins, you didn't, did you? Perpetrator Officer Meekins reporting, sir! What? What? Now this is an unexpected turn of events. Okay. Sir, I'm a patrolman with General Affairs, sir! Sir! Ow. I can hear you fine, Officer Meekins. I had some business that day, sir, so I went to the evidence room, sir. The guard station in front of the room was empty, sir. So normally there's a guard at the evidence room? That's right, sir, because evidence is kept in the evidence room, sir. Now, the security officer was none other than Officer Marshall. Marshall? Then, sir, I happened to glance at the security room monitor. That's when I saw him, sir. A suspicious person in the evidence room! A suspicious person, sir! A suspicious person! What the heck is this guy doing? So what happened then? After that, sir, everything went white! I saw red! I blacked out! And when I came to, I was here, in the detention center. How long were you out? Days? Might I ask, what happened to your hand? Wait, but you were... What? You delivered a police report. What? This doesn't make any sense. Sir, there was no one to change me, sir. So I did what I could to wrap it up, sir. A bandage on his hand? Just like Miss Sky. Yet another similarity between this case and the one at the prosecutor's office. First things first, tell us, how did you hurt your hand? About your hand, did that happen during the course of the crime? Well, you see, sir, don't you think you should just confess? But, sir, but there was nothing I could do. Nothing you could do? Sir, to tell the truth, sir, when it happened, when the detective pointed that knife at me, I just hollered up, sir. And the next thing I knew, I was unconscious. The next thing you knew, you were... what? Then, when I opened my eyes, I was alone in the evidence room, sir. All alone. Alone because Detective Goodman had disappeared. What? Then when I looked down, I was gushing blood from my hand, sir. Oh, the shock. Oh, the sorrow, sir. Can you imagine how I felt? The victim's body disappeared? That's some story. I don't mean to pry, but you are the perpetrator, correct? You killed Detective Bruce Goodman in the evidence room, right? Sir? Please don't look at me with those sad puppy dog eyes, sir! If you have to label me as a perpetrator or a victim, sir, then label me victim! I would, but you happen to be in detention, and alive and well and all that. Ah, yes, well, that's true, sir. I suppose you could say that. Did you know the victim, Detective Goodman? Well, sir, if I had to label him as a stranger or a total stranger, then I'd say he leans heavily on the total stranger side. So, you didn't know him? Sir, I work in a tiny department devoid of light or other creature comforts. I don't know any detectives. So, if he was a total stranger, why did you stab him? Sir, I had no intention of killing him, sir. None. Nor do I have any recollection of killing him, sir. At least someone around here is more confused than I am. Great. Officer Meekins, could you take a look at this? I'm sorry, sir. Really sorry, but I've no idea what that is. Maybe you should ask Mr. Edgeworth, sir. He's passing the buck, Mr. Wright. It takes a special kind of man to pass the buck to Edgeworth. You know, you're not wrong. Do you think you could take a look at this? Hey! That's it, sir! That's it! That's it! Ooh, that's what? My head was a blank until that very moment. But, sir, now I remember. I remember, sir. You mean you remember what happened? Correct! That card was the cause of it all! This ID card? Exactly, sir! That's exactly it! Nothing can be more exact, sir! Nothing! I'd better pry into this one a little deeper. Could you please tell me what it is that you do, remember? Well, sir, you might say I'm a little lost patrolman. A lost little lamb, if you will. I didn't know Detective Goodman who was in the evidence room. And that's why you thought he looked suspicious. Sir, I entered the evidence room and asked the man to show me his ID card. Well, that sounds pretty much by the book so far. That's right, sir. That's what I've been trying to tell you. So you asked Detective Goodman to show you his ID card, and what did he do? That's the thing! Suddenly you put in a knife at me! What? Sir, I assure you I was as flustered as you are right now! So I whooped and leapt at him! Detective Goodman pointed a knife at him? Do unto others before they do unto you! My own father's words, sir! what happened then? Well, my eyes, sir, everything went white. When I awoke, I was here. Right. Reason for the arrest, though? So, Officer Meekins, why was it that they arrested you? What do you mean, Emma? Well, let's look at what we know. Now, Officer Meekins didn't know Detective Goodman, and the victim whom he met with at the scene of the crime didn't show his ID card. In other words, we have no way of knowing if the victim really was the victim. And if this body just disappeared from the evidence room, we don't even know if anyone actually died. Well, that's it, sir! That's what I wanted to say! That is, I did say something along those lines. Huh? But you still ended up here? Well, they told me that it had to be him, sir. On that day, at that time, Detective Goodman was definitely in the evidence room. That's what they say. But you don't remember the events clearly? No, but the videotape is quite clear. Huh? Videotape? From the security camera! The crime! My crime! The crime I swore to stamp out! It's there! It's me! It's on tape! Okay. And you waited until now to tell us this? Oh, I'm sorry. Really sorry, sir. I had over my badge. I don't deserve it. No, thanks. I have my own anyway. Well, I guess we'd better get checking out this crime scene, huh? Yeah, let's go. Thanks for the information, though. Yeah, back up. Hey, Mr. Wright! Look who's standing at the Chief of Detectives' desk. It's Police Chief Gant! And you're sure this is all, You know what it means if there's anything missing. Sir, I'm sure it's most likely totally perfect. We checked all of his drawers, lockers, garbage cans, bags, coat pockets, hats, under his seat cushion, behind his computer monitor, inside his personal coffee machine. I see. Well, if anything does turn up, you call me right away, deal? Yes, sir. We'll scour the place again, sir. The Chief of Detectives looks a little flustered. Righto, my boy! How have you been? Swim much? Oh, Chief Gant, reporting for duty, sir. Why are you saluting him, Mr. Wright? Yeah, well, we might talk to him. It's downright odd, I tell you. The detective getting killed on their own turf, too, I mean. There being the prosecutors, I assume? Scientifically speaking, it's impossible. Yes, but that's what the evidence is saying. Goodman was stabbed in 2 locations at the same time. That's what it says. What evidence is this? No, righto. I can't give away all our secrets just like that. And in this particular... well, it's a little sensitive, and I can't talk about it. Yeah, I wasn't expecting much anyway. You know, one thing I hate most of all is hiding stuff. Secrets. Can't stand them. But you know, it's a full-time job just keeping the Chief of Detectives' traps shut. Ah, he was the one you were picking on earlier? Huh? Oh, you saw that? Whoopsie. I wonder what it was that he wanted the Chief of Detectives to do. Let's see if we can ask discreetly. Is Edgeworth going to be okay? Oh, Worthy! Oh, you know, they're doing a little inquiry committee with him. Sounds like an inquisition. Well, yep, well, they've had no end of trouble with the boy since last year. Yeah, you mean the incident on Gold Lake? It doesn't look good having a top prosecutor sit in the defendant's seat, does it? And you got someone else found guilty in that case, right, righto? Yevon Karma. A legend he was, undefeated in his 40-year career. But in court you fixed it so he was caught for forging evidence. Wait, I didn't say anything wrong. He did forge evidence. In any case, the prosecutor's office is in a bit of turmoil, you might say. Why, they'd do just about anything to restore their reputation. Now, depending on what that inquiry committee decides, it could be bad for Worthy. What? Great. Is there anything we can present to him? Probably don't want to present that to him. I was wondering, could you take a look at this? Sorry, Righto. I'm through with that stuff. Through, I say. Go find that guy who can't seem to sit still out there. You know, the busy one. The guy who can't sit still. Does he mean Detective Gumshoe? Either him or the Dancing Blue Badger. Great. I was wondering if you could take a look at this. No. That's fine. Maybe we can ask him subtly. Anything else we can talk to you about? No. Well, we'll come back then. We don't really want to spend too much time doing that, so let's move and go to the guard station. No. Nothing here. Guess we should stick with Marshall, or with Gaunt then. Alright. Hey, would you like to present this? Nope, that's not it. Okay. Yep, that's fine. Present this. Nope. Okay, that's fine. We'll find what we need to do eventually. Nope, not that. That don't do nothing. That's fine. Nope. Nope. Don't want to look at that. Is there anything on the back? Nope, nothing on the back. Okay, that's fine. Present. Nope, not that. Okay. Maybe this. Nope, that's not a thing he wants. Okay. Nope, you don't want this. This? Nope, not that button. This one? Is it this? Nope, he doesn't seem interested in any of that. Let's see if we can ask him subtly. Nope, doesn't care about that either. Certainly doesn't seem to be interested in any of the evidence, does he? No, well that's fine. You know, we'll just go through all of it. No, definitely doesn't seem interested in looking at that. That's fine. He's not looking at that. Let's see if we can't use this stuff. Nope, doesn't seem interested in that. Okay, that's fine. We're not presenting the steak lunch to him. Is there anything we can do here? Maybe we can talk to someone else. Oh, sorry I had to see that. What exactly did the chief of police want you to do? Well, see over there? That's Goodman's desk. He wanted me to check it for anything that might be a clue. They took away every last piece of garbage in the trash can. So nothing belonging to Detective Goodman is still here? Course not. Well, except for this. What? You kept something? Sure, why not? It's not important. You didn't even finish writing it. It's a lost item report, but it's only half complete. A lost item? Did Detective Goodman lose something? Date is on February the 21st. Better make a note of that, just in case. A half-written document. Okay, I should really get back to investigating the police department crime scene. Oh, that's all we needed to do. Okay, I want to look at this right now. Bruce Goodman. Item lost report. Oh, interesting. So, okay, bear with us. We have an idea here. We have an idea. Let's move somewhere else right now, actually. Just because the music is a bit, how should we say this? Not great. Let's look at this. There's a thing we can learn here. So, Goodman has his ID card, 584-2189. However, as you can see here, there's a question. He was trying to fill this out, right? He's got his name, he's got the date he lost it, but he hasn't filled in the ID. However, we know that it's 582. No, that doesn't sound right. 584-2189. However, if he doesn't know the number, he'd get it wrong. Hence why he put 59 and then scribbled it out. But that raises a question. If he doesn't know his ID number off by heart, surely he'd just look at his ID card to find it? Unless... well, let's think on that one for a bit. That might be something. Anyway, let's go ahead and move to the guard station. Hopefully Mr. Marshall is there. No, Mr. Marshall is not here. Is there anything we can examine? Doesn't look like it. There's this, though. It looks like there's a video feed for the evidence room here. There's a light blinking below the monitor. It says recording. I bet we could use this computer to check on who went in and out of there. Probably, so let's do that then. Let's do that. We can't do that. Why can't we do that? Well, probably would be a bad idea if we did that. We've checked the door already. And there's nothing else we can look at here, so... the only other thing we've got would be the luminol testing spray, but... doing that isn't going to help, is it? Yeah, there's nothing here then. Where are we supposed to be, looking? Maybe the badger? The badger is still writhing around today. Oh, why did we look at this thing? Why did we look at this? Well, let's give him the benefit of the doubt and say he's dancing. Speaking of dancing, the whole police department has been dancing around like crazy since yesterday. Can I take out his batteries? I just can't help but feeling he's going to do something naughty. What have we got here, these two then? Look at those patrolmen saluting the other guy. Guess he must be a detective. Answer me! How many fingers do you see? I'm sorry, I don't know! Well, that's 20 for the left, and nowhere near that for the right. Get glasses, officer! That wasn't a salute, it was an eye test! They make a good pair, those two. They make a good pair. But no, we've got nothing here then. Is there anything here we can look at? Re-examining any of this? This rope, is it? Yep, it's the same one they let out. Yeah, we've had that said before. We have the car. Sports car is as red as... that's about as red a sports car as you can get. Yep, it's pretty red, alright. The body was found in Edgeworth's car trunk, and the lock on the trunk was broken too. So the question is, why did Miss Skye choose his car? So what model car is it? I think it was called a sedan or a coupe, something like that. Those are car types, Mr. Wright, not models. You're a guy, aren't you, Mr. Wright? You're supposed to know these things. Maybe it's about time I got my driver's license. There's nothing else here. Yeah, we can examine this for all we like, but there was nothing here. Perhaps Edgeworth is done with his side of things? Could have some fun here and spray some stuff? Sure, Edgeworth wouldn't mind. It's definitely not like there's anything in here. We'll just, Edgeworth isn't here, so we'll just have some fun. Spray around, spray around, spray around. Nothing here. Okay, why are the drops of blood? Edgeworth? What? It looks like some blood has dripped down here. Judging by the amount, my guess is it's from a nosebleed. A nosebleed? Maybe in his wrath, Mr. Edgeworth slapped someone for their incompetence? Why does Detective Gumshoe's face come to mind? Well, okay, that's a thing. Perhaps we can do some more testing. Any kind of footprints, anything like that. Nothing over this side. We've got bloody there, but that was it, right? Yeah. Maybe we go to talk to Gaunt? Present the other thing that we just found? I was wondering, could you look at this? No, can't look at that. Okay. Maybe... anything here? These are the detectives' desks. There are computers and files on each one. Funny, I'd expect them to be a lot tidier. I guess the detectives don't spend a lot of time at their offices. Or their desks. Not at all. No, we just done that. We just accidentally did that. Where on where? That must be one of the detectives. He's mumbling something to himself. I know. The killer used a cassette tape. What a crafty trick. That gunshot was a fake. This is good. No one will expect a cassette tape in this day and age. Huh? He's not writing a report, he's writing a novel. Oh boy. Okay. Well, we talked to you. Hey, it's PC Badger. So this is the police mascot, is it? The Blue Badger, future star of the police force. The design's a little changed from the one outside. Ah, well, the Dancing Blue Badger, is still under development, you see. You have it trademarked? Absolutely. It's cutting-edge stuff. Very now. I showed this doll here to my daughter and she burst into tears. Don't show her the moving mock-up outside, then you'll give her nightmares. Nothing here. Maybe we present this? No, not interested in the slightest. Didn't think so. Can we talk to you? Permission to enter. Actually, I was wondering if I could ask you for a favor. Well, I never thought the day would come when Wright asked me for help. I was wondering if we could go investigate the evidence room. Is that a yes? Now, righto. Actually, I'm sorry. I don't need to investigate in there after all. Righto, please. Do I look like a selfish man? Heck, if anyone asked me, sir, can I borrow $50? I'd give them $50, no problem. So go ahead, investigate that room to your heart's content. Knock yourself out. It just goes to show you never know until you ask. And for you here, you can borrow this. Hey, is this a detective's ID card, isn't it? That's a special card for guests, so don't lose it. Yes, sir. It's an honor. Just run along now and do your best now. Later, folks. Well, that worked out for us. It looks pretty cool on my lapel, doesn't it? Just think, a real ID. You seem happy. Yes, sir, because, sir, we get to go into the evidence room now, sir. I think this place is a bad influence on the girl. Well, that worked out in favor for us. Now let's head there. Now let's go to the guard station. Now we can go in here if we examine the door thing, right? Now we can go in. The evidence room is beyond that door. And we have the ID card from Chief Gaunt. Let's just walk in. It won't open. Aha! The card reader is turned off, see? What was that security guard thinking? Howdy, partners. Well, well. What's made my Bambina's skies so gray? Officer Marshall. Why does it have to be him? What's with that why does it have to be him look for? As you may have summarized, this here's my saloon. We're here to investigate the crime scene. Yeehaw! The card you got in there on your chest. That's better than a sheriff's badge in these parts. Yeehaw? Well, what you standing around for? Get along, little doggies. The crime scene's awaiting. Looks like the card reader's on again. While we're here, I was wondering if we could ask you some questions. Sorry, cowboy, but I got no mind to tangle with you hombres. You're busy then? Did I say that? I only said I didn't wish to speak with you. Actually, you said you had no mind to tangle with us hombres. Well, good thing we have this. Hopefully it's still warm. That smell. Reminds me of Texas. So, Officer Marshall, you're from Texas? Nah, I just saw a special on television the other day. Is this from my baby? Yeah, Miss Starr. What's this? What? What's wrong? A filet steak lunch. I see. I see. I don't see. What does this mean? and the steak lunch was given to Officer Marshall. Alright, Bambina. You win. Ask anything. Finally, it seems like he's willing to talk. That he is now. Fantastic. Miss Starr told us something. She said that you were a detective until 2 years ago? It was always my dream to be a rawhide wrangler on the scene of the crime. That's all gone now. Like a drinking hole in a prairie fire. You're still investigating the SL9 incident with Miss Starr, aren't you? That was my case. It was all solved on the record books, but it smells like a bad game of poker. I can't let it go. That's all there is to it. What kind of case was it anyway? We've heard the name so many times, but no one tells us what actually happened. There are some things you're better off not knowing, Bambina. Anyway, that case is officially dead as of 2 days ago. 2 days ago? The day of our case? That's right. The evidence transferals. Edgeworth was talking about the transferals too. Sorry, but could you explain what this whole transferal thing is about? We keep only evidence from solved cases in this room. They're kept here under the presiding detective's supervision for 2 years, so we can reinvestigate them if it turns out there was a mistake, see? So what happened with the evidence after 2 years? It goes to sleep forever in an underground vault at the Country Sheriff's Department. That's what we call transferal. We do it every February. I see now. Transferal is like a funeral for old cases. 2 years after a case is solved, it's closed forever. Dead. Never to be reopened again. Never to be reinvestigated. And that happened to SL9 2 days ago. Officer Marshall, you're in charge of security for the evidence room, right? You got good eyes, partner. It's an easy job, and I'm grateful for it. Actually, Officer Meekins at the detention center told us. That poor little doggy. Poor guy. I keep getting his name wrong, and I keep calling him Meekly. He told us something. He said that when the stabbing occurred, you weren't at your station. Well, maybe I shouldn't be telling you this, but since I got demoted from detective 2 years ago, well, it might not look it, but I lost my fire for the job, you know? So, what were you doing around 5:15 when the murder took place? Well, I reckon I was galloping down the highway on the back of my steed, Zippy. Note, he was riding down the highway on his horse named Zippy. There is no need for people here, anyhow. These newfangled machines do a bang-up job of keeping an eye on the place. You mean the security systems? I don't take to machines much. Kinda like that stewed broccoli they sneak into your steak, you know? The security system. I know there may be two of you. I know what maybe 2 of the machines in here do. Only 2 of them? But there must be a dozen! Like I said, Bambina, me and machines, well, I like them about as much as I like stewed cauliflower with my steaks. The easiest ones to understand here are the security cameras. Those are the ones that Officer Meekins mentioned. If nothing happens, the tapes are automatically erased every few hours. And Officer Meekins and Detective Goodman, are they on one of these tapes? I reckon they might be. You're the security guard and you reckon? One more thing. When you go into the evidence room, you need an ID card. Thus the card reader by the door. The card reader leaves a record of every single card that passes through. So this is the ID card record. Hey! I've seen that somewhere before! Sorry, Bambina. I can't show you more than that. Huh? I haven't heard whether this is related to the case yet. Mr. Wright, I saw a number on that record just now. I've seen that number before. Maybe there's some way I can prove that record is tied to the stabbing? Yeah, there is. See this? This is the victim's ID card. Oh, the one that was on the ground in the parking lot. Yeah, the number on this is 584-2189. Officer Marshall, show us that ID card record again. It was... what? This doesn't make any sense. Look at the fourth number. It's a perfect match. It was used at 5:14. That's right before the stabbing. What's more, there's only one of them cards in the world. So, when the incident occurred, Detective Goodman was in the evidence room? But, wait, what did Officer Meekins say? Sir, I entered the evidence room and asked for the man to display his ID card. So you asked the Detective Goodman to show his ID card, but what did he do? He pulled a knife. He pointed a knife at you. So, here's the thing. If it's only using the card, then it's not two-factor authentication. For example, if it was like a fingerprint and the card, you'd know that it was specifically that person. But since it's not, the only identifier is the card. So, I mean, we have the card right now, so we're Detective Bruce Goodman according to this thing. Something stinks here. Goodman wasn't in that evidence locker at that time. If he had his ID card, then why would he have pointed a knife at Officer Meekins? The only reason is it's not him. Alright, compadre, you win. I guess I can give you this ID card record. I've got an idea. Maybe I should show this list to other people with IDs here. Yeah, maybe. Still, we've got the evidence room to find out now. Oh, hey, is that Goodman's fishing pole over there? Not Goodman's, Gumshoe's fishing pole. It's quiet. The investigation must be over there. So this is the evidence room. It really is kind of like a graveyard. Graveyards are supposed to have grass and trees. This was more like a morgue. Actually, yeah, that is Detective Gumshoe stuff, because there's the there's also the metal detector as well. Nice try, Mr. Wright, but you can't scare me. Whoa! Sorry, I thought you were a ghost. I wouldn't recommend going around smacking ghosts on the head, pal. So, is it true what I heard? Righto, please. Do I look like a selfish man? Heck, if anyone asked me, sir, can I borrow $50? I'd give him $15, no problem. So go ahead, investigate that room to your heart's desire. Yeah, it's true. So the chief of police can't. Will loan anyone $50? Even me! Oh, so that's what you were talking about. Actually, I was put in charge of the investigation for today. Just for today? Boss for a day. Hey, but guess what? You got permission from the chief, so now you're boss for a day. Gee, thanks. First of all, you'll want to have this. Okay, here's the evidence floor plan. Let's have a look at this then. Oh, it's literally just the floor plan. Okay. Boss for a day. So, Detective Gumshoe, you're boss for the day? That's right. It's an honor. After all, the murder took place right here in the police department. But, if you're boss, why are you all alone? Where are your underlings? They're using yesterday's findings to prepare for tomorrow's trial. In other words, you got kicked out of the investigation again. I'm adamant, though. I'm gonna take control and put this case to rest. In my own evidence locker, pal. You have a locker in here too, Detective Gumshoe? Of course. I'm a detective after all. They gave me a locker that only I can open, pal. Only you can open? This place is more high-tech than you might think. Every locker is fitted so that only one detective can open it. using their ID cards, right? Well, that's a thing, pal. ID cards can be lost. Well, I'm on my third card since entering the force already. That sounds like a lot. Yeah, but even I can't lose my own right hand. Right hand? Oh, you mean your fingerprint? Exactly, pal. The locker for each locker is coded with a fingerprint. So the only locker we can open is our own. Funny, they look like normal lockers. Yeah, these are the latest model. There's a trick to the handles, see? The handles? On the other side of the handles is a sensor, and if the wrong person touches it... Bzap! You get a shock! That's what happened. My hand will be black and smoking every day. In any case, the locks aren't that obvious. There are even some people on the force that don't know about the fingerprint locks. Huh. Curious, then. Well, I'll always believe in Mr. Edgeworth, no matter what happens. So, Mr. Edgeworth is with the inquiry committee now, right? They're trying to figure out who's responsible for the mess up in court today. Yeah, I see. I guess this is what you call fate. Mr. Edgeworth just can't get away from that case. That case? Yeah, that case. The SL9 incident, of course. That was just the beginning of the end for Mr. Edgeworth. Maybe we can get him to tell us more about this case? Yeah, maybe. But for now, what else do we have? Maybe we present this, see if he knows anyone on here? Could you take a look at this? This is the ID report card of people who came in here on the day of the stabbing. Ah, I heard the rumors. So it was Goodman who came in here at the time of the murder. Whoa! What is it? What that second number, pal? It's not your ID number, is it, Detective Gumshoe? Mr. Edgeworth! What? The second number on this list. It belongs to Mr. Edgeworth. What? Okay, great. Edgeworth, please. Please. Why would Edgeworth have come to the evidence room? That's not great to know. Anything else? Is there anything else we can present, maybe, that might be useful? Allow me to say one thing speaking as a detective. If I see a piece of evidence I know nothing about, I say nothing. Nothing. That's fine. You bet it's fine, pal. Okay, well that was irrelevant then. Allow me to say... no. It's the same thing. Okay. How about this? Nope. Detective Goodman's note. And that switchblade knife. I bet Edgeworth was the most surprised of anyone. Because of the SL9 connection? Well, that was Mr. Edgeworth's first big case, you know. 2 years ago. That was the first time the world knew Edgeworth was a man to be feared. But why would evidence from that case turn up now? I guess it's not over, pal. Maybe there are some loose ends left on that case. Maybe. Now that was a bloody violent case. Violent? So it was murder? A serial killing. A serial killing? Maybe I don't want to get too involved in this after all. But the killer made a mistake, and Mr. Edgeworth built his case around that to nab him. And that was 2 years ago? Put Mr. Edgeworth right in the spotlight and started the rumor mill. Rumors? About forged evidence? It was supposed to be all cleaned up with that transferal the other day. It was the last job he ever did. Detective Goodman, that is. Huh? What do you mean? Well, Detective Goodman was the detective in charge of the SL9 incident, see? So, that switchblade knife... The victim took the knife out of the evidence locker himself? Seems to be the case. What the... What's this? Blood? It's a little worn, but there's definitely a handprint here. This looks like someone tried to wipe it off. Mr. Wright! What if there are other bloodstains left in this room? I should see if her testing fluid to check it out. Yeah, let's see if we've got anything then. We've got a definite reaction there, of course. May as well see if it gives us anything new, though. I knew it! There is someone's right hand print! What? What's the matter, Detective Gumshoe? This locker! It's mine! It's yours? Please! You have to help me, or they come to take me away. Promise you'll testify that I wouldn't harm a fly. You gotta do that for me, won't you, pals? This is an important clue. I better jot it down on the floor plan. I'm counting on you guys. Believe me, you can't trust the police. What? But you're a detective. You know, Gumshoe's not wrong, though. Any other lockers? Anything else down here, maybe? Whoa! That's a lot of blood. This must have been one massive pool of blood. I've never seen anything like it. I'm not a professional. What's your opinion, Detective? Pale blue blood. Maybe Detective Goodman was actually an alien? This proves that something really happened in front of this locker. I'll make a note of it on the floor plans. Hey, if you don't want my opinion, you should have asked. This is more about how much blood it was than anything. Anything else? Just check everything else. In case there's anything here. What is this? Is that a... Okay, hello? What is this? Why am I getting a reaction here? There's no reason for the murderer to touch this spot if he fled out the door. This just might be something significant. Hey! That's some pretty amazing stuff you got there, pal. Huh? What, this? It's called luminol testing fluid. Where'd you get your hands on that, eh? Huh? I'd like to get some too. I just borrowed $50 from the chief. Where did you get this, Emma? I always buy it by mail order. Well, I'd better jot this down on the floor plans. Interesting. Okay. So let's see what we've got then, if we present the floor plans now. Nope, still doesn't care about it at all. Okay, well then, let's look over here. What have we got here? Someone left a glove, but only one? Detective Gumshoe, maybe? There you go, pal. Making me out to be some kind of absent-minded detective. That's evidence from the case, you know? You mean SL9? It does have the tag on it. Okay, well that's good to know. Alright then. Paint? What is with this saw and paint doing here? Since the dawn of time, true art has always been a war against oppression. True art? I noticed there's blue and yellow paint here. Perhaps we're witnessing the birthing place of the Blue Badger? Well, you might say this is my studio. Here? In the evidence room? Gumshoe. Wow, someone must have broken something big to make all these pieces. Detective Gumshoe, perhaps? Hey, come on, pal. I'm not some kind of hooligan. That's apparently from the case. The case? Well, the SL9 incident, pal. See the sticker on one of the pieces there? Another piece of SL9 evidence. Let's take a closer look. I wonder what shape these pieces were in before whatever it was broke. You want to try and put it back together? Good luck, pal. That's no job for amateurs. Well, I spent a good 3 hours of that before I had to give up. That's why I always carry around a tube of glue. Well, this piece looks like the bottom. Let's try putting the rest in place. No, that won't work. That would work. It's moving on then. No, we're looking for a wide piece. We don't have a piece that fits that, do we? Oh, we can rotate these. Okay. That might be interesting to see then. Ha. Okay. Does that? Nope, that does not. Okay. Well. What are we looking at then? It looks like some kind of a vase, perhaps? Yeah. That's the top of it then. That doesn't fit there. Are you sure that doesn't fit there? Yeah, it definitely doesn't fit there. Okay. Well, maybe we don't have all the pieces for it? Oh no, that piece fits there. Okay. That works. Then that one fits there like that. Now that we've got that, we're just looking for a piece that's sort of that shape. Like... Huh. It's looking like that piece. There we go. Okay. Next up, we're looking for a flat top piece, like this one. Very good. Next up, we're looking for a piece that sits there like that. Like so. Now, finally, we're looking for a curved piece, like... A curved piece? Well, we've got that. That kind of fits there. And then that piece must fit there, but... Huh. Are they still missing something? Huh. Huh? Well, I think we did it, but some of the pieces are still missing. Yeah, I got about that far too myself, mate. I got that far in 2 minutes. The problem is finishing it, pal. Where's some of the were some of the pieces stolen? Looks like it. I bet they were missing to begin with. Still, this doesn't look like the most stable kind of jar. Yeah, it's very, top-heavy would be the right wording for it, we think. I kind of understand how it got broken. I think anyone could understand how it got broken if it's looking like that, to be fair. Unstable jar added to the court record, then. Hey, pal, look at the time. Was there somewhere you needed to be going? It's just that Mr. Edgeworth's inquiry committee should be letting out soon. I gotta go give him my report for the day. It might help, you know. Report? You mean the note written on the back of that flyer? The part that has the one thing, the one that says nothing but no problems? Hey, it's Mr. Edgeworth we're talking about. I'm sure he could use a report like this. I believe in him. Who needs enemies when you've got friends like Detective Gumshoe, eh? I'm off, pal. Later. Great. I should probably see what Edgeworth has to say, too. So we've looked everywhere, then, in here? We're not sure. There might be some more stuff worth examining, though. Like this open locker. Detective Goodman's evidence locker. It's empty. Only Goodman himself can open that locker, though. So, the person who took out this knife had to have been Detective Goodman. Yeah, but why is it wrapped in that scarf in the muffler and stuck inside the car muffler? Something's up at this point. Doesn't make any sense. If you put these pieces together, it makes the jar. There are two things that bother me. One, why are there some pieces missing? But two, doesn't it seem a little unstable? No wonder it broke. Anything else? No, we just looked at that. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's anything else here. But you can see that the light's on when the door is open. We've got Marshall. Well, we've already seen and spent some time with them. We don't need to worry about it. Actually, no, there's no one else we really need to move to. So we could just go to talk to Edgeworth, as it were. Please be here, Edgeworth. Bellboy?
Ah, guests. My apologies.
Oh, it's you.
Have we met somewhere?
Huh?
Mr. Edgeworth, I beg your leave. So long.
Is Edgeworth here? There, standing by the window, a teacup in his hand. Uh-oh. Right. He has the hotel bring him tea service? Mr. Edgeworth, you're back from the district prosecutor's office inquiry? I am. By the way, Detective Gumshoe was looking for you. Ah, yes. You brought me the latest information, it seems. Really? Was it helpful? Apparently, a new French restaurant is opening near here. I think he was trying to console me, somehow. The real info is on the other side, Edgeworth. Oh, Mr. Edgeworth. I think this whole thing is really taking a toll on him. So, how did the inquiry committee go? Actually, they decided to treat this not as a case of concealing evidence, but as a communications error due to the investigation. Concealing evidence? Yes. Apparently, there are some who believe that I concealed evidence. They gave me a warning. You were lucky this time. Again. Again? I've heard them say that so many times. Ever since that case 2 years ago. Are you okay for the trial tomorrow? Well, I'm still the presiding prosecuting attorney. However, something happened. They gave control of the investigation over to the police department. The police department? Yes. Any further investigation for this case will be directed by the Chief of Police, Gant. I can do nothing but wait for his results. I see. Why, I ask you, why? All along, I've done only what I believe is right. I have nothing to be ashamed of. But still, I've never seen him this out of sorts. Is there anything we can present to him? Maybe this? Oh, right. I'd better check this now. As I was saying, What's this? A record of ID card usage. Edgeworth, you went into the evidence room that day, didn't you? Just before the incident occurred, no less. Yes, that's true. Why? Mr. Edgeworth? Please don't look at me like that. I was asked to go by Chief Gant, no less. The Chief of Police? He wanted evidence for a case that wrapped up half a year ago. He told me he wanted me to keep it here in the prosecutor's office. But it was solved, right? Why would it be needed for evidence if it's already filed? The chief is never one to explain himself. In any case, on the day of the stabbings, I brought this back here. Can I ask you what kind of case it was? I can't say. It really has nothing to do with the current case. Now I'm curious about this other case. I'd better make note of it. Brought back by Gant's request to Edgeworth here. Okay. Stubborn as always. I told you it had nothing to do with this current case. Fair enough. Is there anything else we can really talk to you about? Right, please. I'm the prosecutor on this case. You don't expect me to sit here and discuss the case with you over a cup of tea? I'll pass on the tea. Just tell me about the case. Mr. Wright, Mr. Edgeworth has told you no in a very polite manner. Whose side are you on here anyway? Maybe if I just show him my best evidence, I can get some reactions out of him. Yeah, well, we don't have much to go on for that, unfortunately. The best evidence was that, was this one. So that's unfortunate. That's it, there was something here. Just wanted to check this. It's a working desk. It's quite tidy, as one might expect. What a nice desk. Easy to use and easy on the eyes. It's polished so high I can see my own reflection. Strange. Why did I just picture Detective Gumshoe? Maybe I'll take that name plaque as a souvenir. Don't. He'll sue you. Yeah, it looks like there's something on the actual writing desk. Like there was something there. I could have sworn that was different. Anyway. What else can we present? We've got... we've not got anything else, though, have we, really? No, not gonna do that. I know you. You've probably got a hold of some information already, right? It all has to do with that case you were on. The SL9 incident. It's some dark suspicion you were wrapped up in. You were the man who revived the worst memory of my life. I figured I'd be telling you about this sooner or later. Must be talking about his father's murder in that elevator. Okay, Edgeworth, why don't you tell me about it? Tell me the truth. Alright. Allegations of forgery. The SL9 incident was a heinous serial killing case. The head of the investigation was the Deputy Chief of Police, at the time, Damon Gaunt. That wacky old coot was involved in that case 2 years ago then? He was a top officer, and was my first time working with him. I was nervous. Wow, you get nervous too, Mr. Edgeworth? What I want to know is why was the Deputy Chief of Police on the investigation? In truth, I used slightly more extreme methods than normal. We were dealing with a vicious murderer, and if I let him go, the blood would be on my hands. We won our guilty verdict, and the killer was executed. Wait, you didn't... Of course not. I didn't touch the evidence. Yes, I will do anything in my power to win a trial. However, I do have a code, and I follow it faithfully. By the way, Emma, the chief prosecutor wanted to know something. My sister? What? If you were still studying forensic science. Huh? Yes, of course! Why, just today Mr. Wright and I were using this. Luminol testing fluid, Well then, you might have use for this. Aluminium powder for taking fingerprints! I believe chemically treated. It's been chemically treated for better adhesion. For me? Are you sure? We are the enemy, you know. I've no say in today's investigation, so do as you will. Edgeworth, I'm really... No need to thank me. Here, take your powder and these fingerprint files for everyone involved. Thanks. How about we giving me these to Detective Gumshoe? How about giving these to Detective Gumshoe as well? Well, we've got 2 handprints we want to find out about, so... Well, let's get going. One last investigation. Right. I do seem to remember seeing a suspicious handprint somewhere. We've got 2. Yep, let's move. Alright. Let's go. Let's go. Spend another half an hour driving between these 2 locations. It's not been that long. It's fine. Let's go. Let's go. Why are we able to so freely move into this place so cleanly? Our investigation turned up a suspicious handprint. Here, in this blood on the detective's evidence locker. Well, let's use the secret weapon we just borrowed. Alright, let's get started. First, choose a finger. Finger? Each finger leaves behind a slightly different print. So let's choose a finger that will have left behind the cleanest print. I really can't tell the difference at a glance. Quit procrastinating, just choose a finger! Well, judging by it, you'd want one that's the side profile of the thumb. Let's go with this one here. Okay, now it's time to check for fingerprints. Let me show you how it's done. Emma's starting to get that sparkle in her eyes. First, we sprinkle the aluminium powder around. Huh? How? With enter. See? Ah, it looks like that did the trick. The aluminium powder adheres completely to the print. Once the powder is well spread, just blow away the excess. Huh? With E. Exciting, I know. Imagine you're blowing out the candles on a birthday cake. See? Wow. That looks like fun. Might take some getting used to, though. It's fine. It won't go up your nose or anything. You just pour the powder on thick and blow away the extra. Those are the basics of fingerprinting, Mr. Wright. Well, let's give it a try. we don't know how close we're in right now, so... Well, we've got part of a print anyway, it looks like. Strange print, though. Ah, you did it! You found one! But this looks nothing like a fingerprint. Now that you mention it, I guess it doesn't. What does this mean? I think it means we're out of luck. Out of luck? The person who left this handprint must have worn gloves. Don't tell me we've been wasting our time here. Hey, calm down. That's just the way it goes sometimes with scientific investigations. But it does seem like a shame. While we're at it, why don't we look for the other prints? Other prints? Looking at the locker door again closely. Yeah, it seems like there are fingerprints outside the bloody handprint as well. Let's see if we can find another clear print. Oh, you mean this dark stain? Okay. Yeah, we've got something. Okay. That's good to know. Let's just get a little bit more so we can get it a little clearer. That about good? That should do it. That should just about do it, right? Everything? Is that everything? What are we missing? Are we not just laying it on thick enough? Okay, let's just cake the whole thing. That should help. There we go, and... Yay! A print so clear it's dazzling. Dazzling? Anyway, this print took a lot of effort to find. Let's match it up right away. So we're not done yet? Oh, this is quite the process. Well, there's no point in finding a fingerprint and not knowing who the owner is, right? I guess she's right. Look at the fingerprint data we have from Mr. Edgeworth and point out the person you think left these prints. Huh? Then how am I supposed to know who it was? I could make a pretty good guess. The bloody handprint and the fingerprint are in different places, right? That means the print probably doesn't have anything to do with our case. So whose fingerprints will we most likely find on this evidence locker? Well, the owner, which would happen to be one Detective Dick Gumshoe, who you can see quite nicely. Dick's only 30 years old? Interesting. Yep, it's a match. Fantastic. Aha! So these prints belong to Detective Gumshoe. Yeah. Something wrong, Mr. Wright? You gave me this so what look. I guess it's probably because I was thinking, so what? Okay, so we came up with nothing this time, but there's always next time. Sometimes you hit and sometimes you miss. You gotta roll with the punches, Mr. Wright. Thanks for the sympathy. Wait, if I remember correctly, there was one other handprint in this room. Let's check it out. Yes, let's. This is where we got a luminol fluid reaction, right? Right! There was a handprint here. Okay, want to try using this? There go her eyes, sparkling again. Let's check for the prints. Okay, let's check for prints. That's the spirit! Oh, but I'll have to warn you about something first. What? The area where the blood was wiped away, right? We ended up finding it because of the chemicals, right? Any print in that area will have been wiped away too. Oh, right. So that means no prints? Would you say the probability of your hypothesis is high? Don't ask me! Anyway, we must try to find prints that weren't wiped away. Prints other than the ones left by the bloody handprint. Okay. So essentially, we can't look for the middle, the pointer, or the thumbprint, but maybe we can look somewhere, we can speculate roughly somewhere along and look for some other prints. So somewhere in this sort of region for the smallest finger, and this one for the one that adorns a ring of the left hand. Let's try for this one, see if we find anything. Yes! We have a print. Now we just need to hope we find a match. Anything? Come on. We can clearly see the prints there. Let's just absolutely cake this thing so it is unquestioningly sorted. How much of this stuff do we have to throw on here? That should do. That works. Okay, but who is it then? It's not Angel's Star. We're looking for a ridge like that. That looks like Marshall's. Well, we got our match. 16 out of 16. Match found. Hey, these fingerprints, whose are they? Whose? Is it someone I know? It's Officer Marshall. Huh? Officer Jake Marshall? Wait, why does he have a bloody handprint? This doesn't make any sense. What is going on now? Why? That's got to be a coincidence. He's not involved in this crime. Emma, this is decisively different from Detective Gumshoe's handprint. The luminol reaction, the blood, and the fingerprints are in the same place. Oh. So we have Jake Marshall's fingerprints on a wiped blood stain? But why would Officer Marshall... Looks like our investigation is finally turning up some results. I guess this is what you'd call decisive evidence. I don't believe it. Okay. Well, that's probably okay. Are we now saying that Marshall killed Goodman? But this doesn't make any sense either, because his body was still found elsewhere. Something doesn't make any sense. So what do you think, Mr. Wright? I think the prosecution is as confused as we are. After all, the victim was murdered in 2 different places at the same time. And a different suspect was arrested at each of the crime scenes. Lana! Good morning, Mr. Wright. I apologize for yesterday. I was indisposed. I hope they don't hold you for they didn't hold you too long for questioning. We just finished, actually. I'm used to all-nighters, though. So how did it go? Yeah, how did it go at that point? Like, there's a lot of things that are worth asking there. Let's hope that it didn't go too badly. As long as it's as Mr. Wright suspects. The police are clueless. I figured as much, so I struck a plea bargain. A plea bargain? What do you mean by that? We agreed that if I told them the truth behind this simultaneous murders, they wouldn't seek capital punishment. That's what I mean, Emma. But, Lana, don't tell me you... Much to my regret, I'm as much in the dark about this as they are. Miss Skye... We found trace evidence of a certain person in the police department's evidence room. They belong to Officer Jake Marshall. What kind of trace evidence? Bloodstained fingerprints, to be exact. That's the trump card I have up my sleeve today. You do understand what this means, don't you? In order to defend my sister, you're going to accuse Mr. Marshall? We have to play the cards we're dealt. Isn't that right, Miss Skye? Do what you have to do, Mr. Wright. Well, let's hope this goes well.
Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Skye.
The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is...
I'm afraid you'll have to clarify.
It takes 30 minutes by car to reach the police department from the prosecutor's office. Yet the victim, Bruce Goodman, was slain at both places at the same time.
Well, that's not physically possible, is it? What's more, I heard the victim from this evidence room just disappeared.
Yes, and the body evidentially reappeared in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. Wow, this is one messed up trial. One of my duties as prosecutor is to present impartial evidence. Today I will present evidence relating to the murder at the police department. In so doing, I believe the way in which we should proceed will be revealing itself. Now that's what sets Mr. Edgeworth apart. He sounds so on top of things, even though he doesn't know what's going on himself. And that's supposed to be an admirable trait? Yes, actually.
Very well, let the trial resume. On the day of the crime, what exactly transpired at the police department? Mr. Edgeworth, you may call your first witness to the stand.
For its first witness, the prosecution calls the suspect of the murder that occurred at the police department.
The suspect? You mean the so-called murderer?
Edgeworth's whole plan here is he's... Oh boy. Things are getting wild from the get-go. Edgeworth doesn't believe that it was done there. If Edgeworth's going for this, he's trying to get us to completely shut that down, to point the finger back at Miss Skye. Will the witness please state his name and occupation?
Yes, sir! I'm Officer Meekins, sir! My occupation is, that would be murderer, sir! So you're telling us that you're a professional killer? Sir, it was me, sir! I'm the one who did it! I'll never kill anyone again, sir! You've got to believe me, sir! Actually, sir, I'm what you would call part of the younger generation, sir! A person whose actions adults can't possibly comprehend! Please, Mr. Edgeworth, sir, help me, sir!
Officer Meekins?
Yes, sir!
Give us your report of the crime. Consider that an order.
Yes, sir! As you wish, sir! After all, I am part of the generation that must do what is told, sir!
Well, you can't fault for a lack of enthusiasm. You can, but you'd be wrong.
Although it's not my normal duty, I was assigned to guarding the evidence room that day. I spotted a suspicious man on the security screen and rushed into the room. I was only doing what I was trained to do, sir. I was suddenly attacked. I fought for my life. Then I did it. After that, I passed out until another officer smacked me awake. So the victim, Detective Goodman, attacked you? Do unto others before they do unto you. That's the Meekins family motto, sir. I see. Then you fainted and your colleague helped you regain consciousness. Yes, sir. He knocked me upside the head, sir. Very well. The defense may begin its cross-examination.
What I need here is more info to work with. Yeah. Okay. Although it's not my normal duty, I was assigned to guard the evidence room that day. Mr. Meekins, you work in the General Affairs Department, do you not?
Yes, sir! I am in charge of hiring new recruits, sir!
Yikes! Now there's a scary thought. Evidence transferal was taking place on the day of the crime, which meant many officers were given special tasks not ordinarily performed.
I was in charge of guarding the Blue Badger, sir. The Blue Badger? Yes, sir! The lovely police mascot created by the Chief of Detectives, sir! I was to ensure that it wasn't broken during the transferal process, sir! That was my sole mission for the day, sir! I see. Sounds like a very, important mission. After the award ceremony finished that day, there were so many people running around. I was relocating the Blue Badger to the evidence room. Oh, so that's why you went to the evidence room.
Tell us, what did you see when you got there?
I spotted a suspicious man on the security screen and rushed into the room.
Okay. In order to enter the evidence room, you need an ID card, am I correct?
Precisely, sir. I have one right here around my neck.
So then, your ID number should be listed on here, right?
There it is! I found it! There it is, this one right here! Could you please read us their number? Yes, sir! sir. It's 49899596. That's my number, sir.
I like that number. I see. Huh. But the number 4989596 is shown as being used twice. Please explain, witness.
It's no real mystery, sir. The first time is when I relocated the Blue Badger to the evidence room. And the second time is when I went in to get him after everything settled down. I see. So it was during that second time when... Yes, sir. That was when I spotted the man on the security screen.
Okay, good to know.
I was only doing what I was trained to do, sir.
I was suddenly attacked. So you were attacked. Can you tell us exactly what happened to you?
It was a knife, sir. A knife! Detective Goodman pulled a knife on you? What happened then? Well, with me charging in on him like that, he looked as surprised as I was.
You're not exactly the kind of person someone would want to run into.
That's when I reacted, sir. I swung my arms like an octopus, struggling to detain him. That's how I got this gash on my hand.
Maybe if you just kept your cool, your hand wouldn't be...
When I saw the blood trickling down my arm, I panicked. I grabbed the man by his collar. I fought for my life.
What exactly do you mean when you say you did it?
Well, I know I don't really look the type, but I'm really into Kung Fu films, sir. The man let his guard down for an instant, so I snatched his knife from him.
You took his knife?
I spun him around and performed a disarming maneuver. I made sure to close my eyes like a man.
I see. He must have been so desperate.
The next thing I knew, his white coat was drenched in a sea of my blood, and then the next thing I knew... Yes? He punched me right in my face, sir! After that, I passed out.
About what time did you regain consciousness?
No offense, sir, but how am I supposed to know that? I was unconscious!
Oh, right. According to the report from the officer that woke up the witness, it was about 5:30.
He hit me right on the head, too! I woke up crying in tears of pain! Well, that's nice. I mean, it's nice that you recovered, that is. When I came around, though, I made sure to finish my mission, sir.
Your mission?
Yes, sir! The Blue Badger, sir! I returned him to the entrance before things got out of hand.
Well, we can all rest easy now.
I believe we have had a fairly accurate picture of what happened.
Yes, Your Honor. Only one thing remains unclear. Was the man that this officer murdered really the victim? He's got a point.
Yes, Officer Meekins. With regard to that, sir, take a look at this! It was sent into my jail cell. Chief Khan delivered it to me this morning, sir.
The chief? Delivered it?
What is that? A videotape? Yes, sir! That's absolutely right, sir! A videotape, sir! It contains footage of the security camera in the evidence room!
What? But I specifically asked if there was such a tape, and was told it had been mistakenly erased.
Well, that's quite a mistake. I just do what I'm told, sir. It's the only thing I'm really good at.
Looks like communication with the police department is as good as ever.
Well then, let's have a look. Show us the video of you murdering the victim. Oh, please stop using that word murder, sir. It scares me.
A video of the real murder. Just what are we getting ourselves into? Let's see what ends up happening then. Oh no. Okay. Let's see what we've got then. So we've got the camera. So there's Goodman walking by. Or there's our first person walking by. This is fine. This is fine. What have we got here then? Oh, it doesn't show our face! You've got to be kidding! But this is at the right time, though. So let's see what ends up happening here. This is when Meekins mentions, hey, can I see your thing? We swiped a knife at him. Then he saw it, went out, and then he's there like that, and then he got punched in the face. Ah, but we never saw a face the whole time! Damn it! And then Meekins is passed out. Other guy is gone. Evidence locker is open. Where is our... okay.
Well, I believe we're all thinking the same thing. How can we deal with these unsettling feelings stirred within us?
What the hell was that wiggling piece of plywood?
Sir, that is the pride and joy of the entire Criminal Affairs Department, sir! It's the Blue Badger, sir!
Why am I not surprised this isn't going smoothly? Okay, well, we have that now.
Yes, well, anyway, this tape seems to prove that the witness did indeed encounter, someone in the evidence room, and some sort of activity did take place.
Your Honor, instead of relying on clearly incomplete footage, the witness's testimony will suffice. Is that alright with you, Officer Meekins?
Yes, sir, as you wish, sir.
The mystery man.
His face can't be clearly seen in the video, but there's no question that the other person was Detective Goodman, sir. I mean, he opened the locker which required Detective Goodman's fingerprints to do, sir. The locker he opened is unquestionably Detective Goodman's locker, sir. So it must be him! No one else could have unlocked it!
Okay.
What's this about a fingerprint?
Each detective has been given a locker equipped with a fingerprint-activated lock. These locks ensure that each locker can only be opened by the detective it belongs to.
Intriguing. Well, that would mean the victim at the crime scene would have to have been Detective Goodman.
Wait, hold on.
Very well. The defense may begin its cross-examination.
Can we watch this back? Okay, can we skip? There's something we want to check here. Yeah. Okay. Watch that little bit again. Watch this again. Look at all the other lockers that we can see here. There is one distinct different thing between these lockers and the one locker. Look at it. The light is on. If the light is on, indicator lamp lights up when it's open. Anyone could have opened this locker. Anyone could have opened this locker because it's already open. See? Look. Every other locker here is already is already closed and completely locked, and there's nothing to be able to do there. So we see that. Then it doesn't matter who was there. Anyone could have opened this. Not to mention as well, you can see they're wearing gloves. So there's no way it could have been them. That just doesn't make any sense. Whoever that is wearing gloves. If they're wearing gloves, then we can't know that it... yeah. The locker's open. Yeah. Okay. I don't know where this cross-examination will lead, but everything begins with contradictions. That's where I have to start. Now we just gotta try and finagle this to show the point.
His face can't be clearly seen in the video, but there's no question the other person was Goodman.
But you don't know that for sure, do you? You never actually saw Detective Goodman's face.
Well, I suppose you might say that. That is, if you must label people as having seen or not seen it. Since his face can't be identified in the video, only you can verify it. Why is everyone looking at me? If I had to label your stares as disturbing, or...
Meekins! Having been shown a questionable video at best, we are not in the best of moods. Now please be more certain with your testifying.
Yes, sir.
You claimed the man who brandished a knife on you was Bruce Goodman. Tell us why you are positive it was him. He opened the locker, which requires his fingerprints to do. I don't think that's relevant. Regarding the video contained on this tape, there is one thing in particular that seems rather strange.
Strange?
This contradiction leads to the possibility that the man may not have been Detective Goodman.
What? This video contains such a contradiction?
Interesting. Your Honor, I have a proposal.
Yes, Mr. Edgeworth?
I propose we have the defense point out to us this alleged contradiction in the video. How would you want me to point it out?
Very well, proposal accepted. Let us further inspect this piece of evidence. I will now play the security tape. Mr. Wright, please show us this contradiction you speak of.
I have to point out a problem in the video? Well, this is the first time I've ever had to do that. You can do it, Mr. Wright. It's set up so you can fast forward, rewind, or pause on a video. Just take a good look and be sure to point out the right thing. Please don't play it too many times. Oh, I can't stand watching this video. How did this guy ever become a police officer?
Now then, Mr. Wright, please enlighten us. Where is the contradiction that is contained that indicates this man may not be Goodman?
Okay, pause. Right here. The thing that's strange about this video has got to be this. Officer Meekins? Sir? Do you mean me, sir? As I understand it, the locker apparatus works like this. When you grab the handle, a sensor reads your fingerprint, and if it's a match, then the light turns on and the lock is released. According to my very limited experience, that's the way I understand it, sir. If so, then something is seriously wrong with this picture. Why do we have to keep looking at this thing? It's somewhat terrifying, but look. Notice how all the others are closed, but as soon as they make it all the way to the door, it's already opened. So look there. It's opened. When the victim reaches for the handle to open the locker, let's rewind a little bit earlier. Yep. You can see. Yep. Why is it going so slowly? There we go. Here! Notice the light?
What's this? It's already lit!
Precisely my point, Your Honor. The locker was already open before the victim grabbed the handle!
Order! Order! What's the meaning of this?
It's very simple, Your Honor. The locker wasn't locked on the day of the crime. But the locker locks are controlled by an electronic system. When a door is shut, a sensor is triggered, and the locker is automatically locked.
Oh, I know! It must have broken down! Of course, I'm not an expert in this.
That's not likely, Your Honor. The sensor would detect and report any malfunction.
Well, just goes to show novices should keep their mouths shut. So then, Mr. Wright, do you have an explanation?
Me, Your Honor?
Yes? Why wasn't the locker locked?
Me, Your Honor? Yes. Well, you see, this isn't exactly my field. What do you think, Miss Scientific Investigator? Huh? Oh, maybe something like jammed the system sensor. Something jammed the sensor? Say, there is something else that seems out of place in this video. Yeah, I thought so too. There's got to be another clue somewhere in this footage.
Very well. Let's inspect the video once more. The locker wasn't locked, Mr. Wright. Please point out the cause for this.
Okay. Well, we know that this part is irrelevant. It's this part here that we want to look at. Whoa, look at this. Watch. Whoop. Whoops. No, that's not the button. That's not the button.
They don't get it.
Yeah, no. No, let's just... let's inspect... Sorry, wrong button, Your Honor. Sorry, that was unintentional. But let's try this again. Okay, and... pause. This, right here. Please watch closely. This is the continuation of the part I showed you earlier. Phoenix, why have you reversed the footage even further back? Anyway, what we can see here, as we come on through, is right here, something falls out when it's open.
What's this? Something white fell out of the locker.
But sir, that's been my experience, that things fall out when doors are opened. I often fall out and roll great distances when I open my car door and... We can't be sure that item was completely inside the locker to begin with.
What do you mean?
The sensor triggers the lock when the door is shut. What if something was inserted, say, between the sensor and the door?
Inserted?
Yeah. If that glove happened to be in the right position, it could jam the sensor. Which would then mean the door thinks that it's still open. Which in turn would mean... Yeah. That white thing wasn't inside the locker. It was stuck between the door and the sensor.
Oh, I understand now, sir. That's just like my tie. 2 out of 3 times it gets stuck in the door when I get out of my patrol vehicle, sir. Instead of the door closing, my tie chokes me. But the object would have to be extremely thin to fit in the door.
Not only that, but it would also have to block electrical currents. It would need to be an insulator.
Yes, an insulator. But at the crime scene...
There just might have been something that fits that description.
But sir, by insulator, do you mean...
I think it's finally got this figured out.
Very well. The defense will present the related evidence. What was this insulator that was stuck in the door?
It could only have been one thing. A white glove. Extremely thin rubber glove. And, to move that point further forward, it's from the SL9 case. Bruce Goodman was in charge of that, and as a result, he would be holding all the evidence responsible for that case, including SL9. I found this near the locker. It's a thin rubber glove.
But we can't be sure that it was the victim's locker.
It is a tag that says the SL9 incident. The video seems to depict the victim opening the locker. But that isn't the case. The lit lamp attests to this. On the day of the crime, even I could have opened that locker. Is that not so, Officer Meekins?
Sir? It is so, sir! Order! 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 So we are to believe, then, that the victim, whom this witness stabbed in the evidence room, was not Detective Goodman?
Do not be misled, Your Honor.
What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth?
The defense has merely demonstrated that possibility, and nothing more. The victim in this video was indeed Bruce Goodman. The prosecution will offer one more testimony to prove this. What? Officer Meekins, please testify about this. Why is Officer Meekins taking the fall for this? This doesn't make sense.
Sir! Me, sir? I'm not sure what you're referring to, sir. Oh! You mean that, sir? Of course, sir.
Is this a joke?
Very well. Begin your testimony.
The mystery man number 2. Huh.
There's one other thing that proves the man was Detective Goodman, sir. To enter the evidence room, one must use their ID card. When an ID card is used, there's a record of it. At the time of the crime, the detective had used his card.
Yeah, but anyone could have used his card. This is the flimsiest... Edgeworth, come on. What are you trying to achieve here? Are you just trying to prove that it wasn't Bruce Goodman who was there? Like, literally, that's what you've done. You put up this flimsiest attempt so that we close it for you and go, yes, well, obviously, that means Bruce Goodman was stabbed elsewhere, so it must have been prosecuted Lionel's guy who did it. Oh, I'm so clever.
An ID card record. I see.
I have the ID card record right here, Your Honor. The ID used at 5:14 is that of the victim.
Just before the crime, Yes, without a doubt, this is the victim's ID. However, one thing does strike me as unusual. Several hundred cases should have been due for transferal. Why were there so few people using this room?
That's a very good point. This particular evidence room is only used for storing certain special cases. Special cases? Extremely violent cases involving police staff. Just hearing that makes my hair stand on end. Me too, although it doesn't make much more of a difference. There were only a few cases up for transferal there, and most were cleared up by noon.
Right, I see. Now let's move on to the cross-examination.
Yeah. We have to go with the idea that Bruce Goodman didn't have his ID card. That's our plan here.
It's one of the things that proves the man was Detective Goodman, sir. To enter the evidence room, one must use their ID card.
Well, here's the thing as well. If the door's open, could anyone pass through it or not? So, unlike your earlier testimony, you believe this is to be rock solid, do you?
Yes, sir. As solid as stone, sir. If my hand wasn't wrapped in bandages, I'd even give the V for victory sign, sir.
Couldn't he just use his right hand for that?
Let's hear him out fully. As we've seen, one never knows what he might say until the very last second.
To enter the evidence room, one must use their ID card. No, one must use an ID card. Big distinction. Is this card hanging from your neck one of these ID cards?
Yes, sir. This card right next to my cuffs, sir. I keep it there so I won't ever forget it.
But what if someone were to steal it from you, keeping it out in the open like that?
Maybe I shouldn't wear it around my neck. Remember when I said 2 out of 3 times my tie gets stuck when they get out of the car? Well, the remaining time, it's my ID that gets stuck. Instead of the door closing, my ID chokes me.
Maybe I should just leave this one alone. At any rate, each police officer has only one ID card. Both the police department and the prosecutor's office can attest to this.
Please proceed with your testimony. When an ID card is used, there's a record of it.
Let it be noted that this is the record the witness is referring to.
Let me see. Yes, that would be it, Detective Goodman.
What's the matter?
According to this, Mr. Edgeworth, your name is on here.
So it is, Your Honor. Oh. Not that prosecutor again! Hey, maybe he's behind all this. He's a prosecutor. He could be hiding the evidence.
Mummy, is that man in blue a murderer?
Shh, don't stare at him. You've got the wrong colour, kid!
It would seem the inquiry committee will want to speak with you again today.
I have nothing to be ashamed of regarding my actions or the consequences. For now, let us continue with the cross-examination. Poor Mr. Edgeworth. It must be so difficult for him. This is an assumption that he had his card. Earlier, I believe you testified that when you asked the man to show his ID card, he pulled a knife on you.
Yes, sir! He didn't show me any ID card, sir!
Don't you think that's odd? I mean, if he had his ID card, all he would have to do was show it to you. There wouldn't be any reason to draw a knife.
But Maybe he just panicked?
Everything stems from contradictions. Let's point them out. Mr. Wright, what do you think? I'm confused. What? The problem with this ID card testimony is far too obvious. It's not like Edgeworth to miss something like this. You're thinking too hard about it. Come on, let's show him what we've got. Proves it was Goodman, sir, to enter the ID card. When the ID card uses a record of it. At the time of the crime, present. It was found at the crime scene. It wasn't there. Wait one moment, Officer Meekins.
Oh, I'm not good at waiting, sir.
I have the victim's ID card right here. I found it at the crime scene.
Well, that makes sense.
When I say crime scene, I'm referring to the evidence. I'm not referring to the evidence room at the police department. I mean the other crime scene. The underground parking lot at the prosecutor's office. Your Honor, I have one more piece of evidence to present. This is a very important clue regarding the victim's ID card.
Lost item report? It's only half complete.
But it shows that Detective Goodman had lost something on the day of the crime. Something important enough to fill out this report. Let me guess. You believe this something to be his ID card, right? I can't say for sure, but there is a high probability. On the day of the crime, Detective Goodman was not carrying his card.
Order! Order! So now, well, what does this all mean?
It can only mean one thing. It doesn't even require much thought. The man Officer Meekins encountered in the evidence room was not Detective Goodman, but rather the man who stole his ID card. Yeah, Phoenix, I don't think you've quite realized that...
Order! 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 Does the prosecution have a response?
Yes, I'm so smart. This is exactly what I wanted you to do. See, Bruce Goodman wasn't killed there, therefore it doesn't matter what happened there. Therefore, we go back to the original thing. He was alive, and he was actually somewhere else. And he was stabbed by Lana Skye. It was Lana Skye who did it. Oh, none of this mattered at all.
That's pretty much Edgeworth's point, we're pretty sure. I have only one thing to say to the defense. Probably thank you. Huh? Bravo, Mr. Wright. Bravo? Allow me to summarize the defense's argument. At 5:15 p.m. on the day of the crime, the man in the evidence room as Officer Meekins encountered was not Detective Goodman. There are two grounds to support this. First, the locker in the evidence room was already unlocked. Second, the victim lost his ID card. Am I correct so far, Mr. Wright? Yes? What's he up to? That being the case, we must inevitably arrive at a single conclusion. If the victim in this video is a fake, then the murder in the evidence room is also fake. Wait, hold on, no, because something's still not making any sense, because... Meekins is... hang on. There's a huge pool of blood there. What? Meekins didn't spill that much blood, unless he passed out from lack of blood, but... What? Something's not making sense. In other words, the security camera does not show the instance of the murder. That is... I guess that's right. Is something wrong, Mr. Wright? Only moments ago, you seemed content to be pointing your finger around. This isn't going to end well. Well. It seems you finally realized exactly what you've gone to such lengths to prove.
Well, explain yourself, Mr. Edgeworth.
The defense has already done the explaining for me. The victim in this video is a fake, which means a murder did not take place at the police department at 5:15 on the day of the crime.
So
the real crime could only take place at one location, the underground parking lot at the prosecutor's office, the murderer being Miss Lana Skye, the defendant. The evidence is compelling. A trustworthy witness observed the moment the defendant used the murder weapon.
God,
Fuck! I knew that testimony was way too shabby. It was all a trap from the beginning. Yes, it was, Phoenix. Very glad that you're finally on the same page as everyone else.
The activity in the evidence room still leaves many questions unanswered. Who exactly was the victim of the Meekins encountered? And where did this person disappear to? However, this trial's purpose is to examine only the murder of Detective Goodman.
Just so, Your Honor. Mr. Wright, you have to do something or else Llama... What do I do? How am I supposed to get myself out of this mess? We have to object here and find something. One moment, Your Honor. What now, Mr. Wright? Don't tell me you're objecting to what you've just proven. Of course not. But I almost walked right into the prosecution's trap. What are you talking about? This cross-examination has proven one thing and one thing only. The security video did not show the actual murder. That's it. But there's still something else. We need to talk about what the whole point of this was about in the first place. Meekins is there, but then suddenly where is the other person gone? They've slipped by, but look there, right there. However, it cannot be said that that is unrelated to the murder in the parking lot. Specifically, large amounts of blood traces were found in the evidence room. The defense demands further explanation into the truth of the matter.
Mr. Edgeworth?
Yes, Your Honor.
If this court is to examine if this court were to examine this further, other witnesses would be necessary. Is the prosecution prepared?
I'm sorry, Your Honor. The prosecution considered the incident at the police department to be unrelated. We have not prepared any further witnesses for this incident. Just might be my chance. Time to call a certain Texas Ranger to the stand. Mr. Wright, do you mean... Your Honor? The defense would like to request a specific witness.
Oh? Whom did you have in mind?
Someone we have reason to believe knows the truth. The truth behind the activities that took place in the evidence room. The prosecution requests to hear this person's name before deciding whether or not to comply.
Very well then, Mr. Wright. This person whom you would like to testify, what is his or her or their name?
Officer Jake Marshall. Why him? I can't let Edgeworth know everything just yet. He's in charge of the evidence room. I feel we should hear what he has to say. The prosecution agrees to the defense's request. Since he was responsible for guarding the room, we should hear his testimony. Fortunately, he works in the police department. We shouldn't need longer than 20 minutes to prepare.
Very well. The court will take a 30-minute recess while the witness is subpoenaed. Will the prosecution please prepare the witness during this time?
We will, Your Honor.
The court is now in recess.
Alright, so we got him to the stand, now we just have to get him to talk. But what exactly are we going to be able to pin him on here? So what if he went there? That doesn't mean anything. That literally doesn't mean anything, but we need to know what's going on. We have to draw this out longer. There's no stopping you, is there, Mr. Wright? Huh? What do you mean? You called for Jake Marshall. It seems you figured everything out. I haven't figured anything out, but... Lana... You're the one who knows everything! Emma... You always know everything! Why don't you just tell us? Mr. Wright is trying his hardest to protect you. I don't recall ever asking for his protection. How can you be so cold? Don't you trust us? Don't you trust me? Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals.
Yeah,
about that. You might be doing just that, Gumshoe.
Oh, guess I am. Come back later.
Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it?
You've got a lot of nerve, pal, making a detective running around all day while on duty. And to top it off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals.
Sorry, Detective.
You better be, pal. Hey! I didn't see you there, Chief Prosecutor Sky.
That's okay. So, have you brought what I asked?
Oh. You mean this, right?
My apologies, Detective. Due to my present circumstances, I was forced to use Mr. Wright's name when making my request. My name?
Never in a million years would I have thought it was you who asked me. Could I bother you to bring me the SL9 incident files? I'll need them by noon. Talk about crazy.
The SL9 incident? But, Lana, that's... I thought Mr. Wright might need them, so I had them brought here. Here, you might do well to read them.
I can't believe you, the chief prosecutor, was a witness in that case.
Miss Sky was a witness? Solved 2 years ago, Joe Dark killings.
Take it from me, you don't want anything to do with the serial murderers. Oh, what? Now you've brought your stuff, you're just gonna ignore me?
Emma, but why? Why is your name in here? What? My name's in there? I don't know, unless... No, it couldn't be. Lana! This SL9 incident, is that... That's the classification number the police filed it under. 2 years ago, the rest of the world knew it as the Joe Dark killings. The Joe Dark... No, Lana! That's over with! No! Emma, wait! She ran away.
You know what? I just remembered. I gotta go be somewhere. Sorry, pal, but I'm out of here.
Jake Marshall, Angel Starr, Damon Gant, Miles Edgeworth. Not to mention Lana and Emma Sky. Everyone involved in this case is connected to those killings 2 years ago. This can't be just a coincidence. Knowing you just might be able to figure it out. Time to get back to the trial, Mr. Wright. Best of luck. I'd better take a good look at this file. What is going on? This doesn't make any sense. Why is Emma so concerned about this? But more importantly, why is everyone involved suddenly here? We've got people demanding a closure to SL9. Something is not sitting well here. No Emma.
The court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Sky.
Your Honor, give me a moment here. I'm just gonna read this. Incident closed. Perpetrator was Joe Dark. Crime, serial murder. Sentenced to death. Victims, Edward Jones, Jason Knight, Edith Kirby, Rachel Moss, Jeb Bates, Neil Marshall! Marshall's brother. Okay. Head prosecutor was Miles Edgeworth, and witnesses was Lana and Emma Sky. Investigation task force led by Damon Gant and Lana Sky. Head investigator Bruce Goodman. Investigators were Jake Marshall and Angel Starr. So Neil Marshall was involved in this. Okay. Emma didn't come back.
Allow me to call the next witness to the stand. The officer in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime.
Witness, please state your name and occupation.
Me, partner? Oh, I'm just a man, same as you, wandering the trails of civilization.
Occasionally helping the elderly across intersections when needed. Yes, we get it.
Oh, I know! You're a patrolman! As for my name, if you listen hard enough, you can hear the howling wind calling it out.
To be exact, it's Jake Marshall, Your Honor. Howling wind? I've never heard Edgeworth described that way before. Now, Mr. Marshall, let me ask you something. You were in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime took place. Is this correct?
According to the papers, partner. What do you mean? A desperado's soul is boundless as the desert sands. No paper can sum it up. Maybe it's best we just get on with this quickly. Please share with us your testimony of the day of the crime. In plain old English.
Yes. Let's see what we can gather from you. We've got to be able to push this towards you, but how?
My job was to keep a wary eye on that bone orchard. They say I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that just ain't my style. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyway. If I remember right, I was at a street-side saloon at the time it went down. I'm just an innocent traveling man, so if you're out of ammo, it's time I hit the trail. I can't say I particularly care for your attitude. I can't say I care much for your beard, but you don't see me complaining.
Wait a minute. What do you mean by 2 security systems?
I mean the security cameras in the ID card reader. I reckon even a cowpoke like you knows about those.
Yes, well, what about the fingerprint-activated locks on the evidence lockers?
Fingerprint-activated locks? What kind of newfangled doohickeys are those?
He's not being very helpful here. He's not that good with machines, or following orders.
Everyone's got their weaknesses now, don't they, Mr. Prosecutor? This one seems like trouble. Okay, Mr. Wright, he's all yours.
Well, we can't really do much to try and discredit him as a person, because we'll just brush it off as, yeah, well, that's too bad. Job was to keep wary eye on that bone orchard. How exactly do you keep an eye on the evidence room?
I just make sure nothing moved in the security camera monitor. That room's so still, even time dies in there. I was just a caretaker who entered the recordings.
You entered them?
Videos and nothing aren't what's useful. When the time would come, I'd erase that tape.
If nothing unusual is recorded, tapes are to be erased every 6 hours.
Each time I'd erase a tape, it'd feel like I was erasing a part of my life.
This guy has a flair for the dramatic, but it isn't going to do him any good. So, in actuality, you don't physically enter the evidence room.
They say I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that just ain't my style.
But you made the rounds on the day of the crime, right?
Ain't you heard a word I said, partner? I told you that just ain't my style.
Huh? I'm afraid I don't understand.
No desperado I know lets rules just get in his way.
No desperado joins the police force.
So, Officer Marshall, on the day of the crime, just between you and me, I didn't set foot in that evidence room that day. There was a rubber glove stuck to the victim's locker. Do you know anything about that? Sorry, partner, can't say I do. I haven't been in that crypt in weeks.
How does this guy avoid being fired? Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems. You used to be a detective, so you've used the evidence room in the past, correct?
Of course. Back in the day, my locker was a goldmine of evidence.
And yet, you didn't know about the fingerprints locking mechanism?
Sorry, partner. I ain't so good with machines. I couldn't even tell you how a bike works.
That's quite, incredible. The sensors on the locker handles cannot be seen. It's well known that some detectives are unaware of their presence. Now that he mentions it, Detective Gumshoe said something like that too.
At any rate, it doesn't seem that this is relevant to the crime. Can you tell us what you were doing when the crime took place? If I remember, I was at a street-side saloon down at the time.
What were you doing at a place like that?
I was eating spaghetti.
Not even Angel's steak lunch can beat that parlor's vongole sipa pasta.
Do you mean to tell us you abandoned your police duties to eat some noodles?
Not all desperados eat tacos, partner.
That's not what I meant. I hope this has at least taught you a lesson.
It's strange. This is unusually where Edgeworth says, "Did you not want to raise this year?" I'm just an innocent traveling man, so if you're out of ammo, it's time I hit the trail. Out of ammo, Officer Marshall? It's right, partner. Or as you'd like to call it, evidence. If you plan to pin me in this crime, then you better draw. Otherwise, you're just wasting my time. My steel horse is waiting to carry me back west into the sunset.
One thing seems clear. Despite being responsible for guarding the evidence room, the witness doesn't appear to have seen anything.
Texans don't take orders from anyone. Everyone knows that. Apparently your superiors don't. Okay, well I have a trump card up my sleeve, so I'd best keep my cool. Before I use it though, I'd better up the ante. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's the wrong one. Oops. Okay, so that's probably the only time we're going to really use it, right? If you're out of ammo, it's time I hit the trail. We have one piece of evidence here. Officer Marshall, doesn't it strike you as odd? That is, you being called in to testify like this. After all, you weren't in the security room at the time of the crime. And yet you dragged me down here. Explain yourself, partner. It's quite simple. You left a very large trail behind at the scene. Or to be exact, a handprint. Listen real good, partner. Like I said, I'm the caretaker of that crypt. I pay my respects, that is, make my rounds about once a month. It's only natural my fingerprints would be in there. I only wish it were, officer. But you see, your fingerprints were covered in blood!
Witness, what's the meaning of this? Your bloodstained fingerprints were at the crime scene?
The blood was wiped away, however, a luminol test clearly revealed this. Well, Officer Marshall? It seems to me there ain't a person in this room with a head on his shoulders. I take it you have another explanation then, Officer Marshall? About the blood-stained fingerprints?
Very well, you may begin your testimony about your fingerprints found at the scene of the crime.
Okay, what have you got for us? Like I said, it's only natural for my fingerprints to be in that evidence room. One of them just happened to be at the same place as the bloodstained handprint. The murderer touched a locker where my fingerprint was by chance. The bloodstain and the fingerprints are completely unrelated. Or didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? See, I had nothing to do with it.
The witness's explanation appears valid, although there's room for doubt.
Life wouldn't be fun without any doubt, partner.
The defense may now cross-examine the witness.
This guy's hiding something, I can feel it. Now's my chance to prove it. First of all, how do you know about the glove side of things? Second of all, you're talking about the wrong locker here. It's only natural for my prints to be there. That's because you, how did you put it, pay your respects once a month? Yeah, that's right. That and one more thing. That locker happens to be mine.
What? What do you mean?
I mean what I said. The locker used when I was, that's the locker I used when I was a detective. The locker I still use. Although that's in there now, though, a heap of broken dreams. I see. It'd be strange if my prints weren't all over that locker. Apparently his fingerprints data was never removed from that locker's programming, huh? He must have been using fingerprint lock all this time without knowing it. Okay. One of them just happened to be at the same place as the blood-stained handprint. So then, what about the bloody handprint?
Wasn't mine. It's no mystery. Please explain.
My locker is covered with my fingerprints. It just so happened the murderer touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance. No. They opened your locker. The chances of that happening are 1,000,000 to 1. On the contrary, one could argue just the opposite. The chances of that not happening are 1,000,000 to 1. Get one thing straight, partner. You ain't gonna get no reward from me with a mere fingerprint. You wanna know why? The blood stain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated. Unrelated? They're as different as night and day. Kinda like cereal and cereal. One's has got to do with breakfast while the other's a type of murderer.
He's right. Although seemingly alike, they are totally different.
I don't see what homonyms have to do with this. Or didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? How do you know that? I may be a loner, but I still do my job. I keep up on the reports. There was a blood stain at the scene, though, thought to be left by the murderer. That's right. It was found on Detective Gumshoe's locker. However, no fingerprints were detected on that handprint. Yeah, I think we tried that too.
So what would this mean? That the murderer, wearing gloves, happened to place their hand on top of Officer Marshall's fingerprint?
That'd be the only logical conclusion. Are you starting to get the picture, partner? The picture? This seal of blood in the desert is just food for the buzzers. There's only one reality, and that's this. The security tape? So long as my trail ain't in there, you can't say otherwise.
This isn't getting us anywhere, Mr. Wright. Please consider carefully where you're going with this cross-examination.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now then, continue your testimony, Officer Marshall.
Too bad it wasn't me in that video, right, partner? Wait a minute. Wait. Yes, it was! Marshall, you idiot! It was. Shit. Your Honor, that statement contradicts this evidence.
It does? I don't see anything contradictory.
Really?
Objection overruled. Try to think before you make conclusions, Mr. Wright. Accusations, Mr. Wright.
No, it is. I can prove it. Whoops, that didn't go so well. Too bad that weren't me in that video, right, partner? Fine, we'll press it first. What do you mean by that? You want to tie me to this crime, isn't that right, partner? Yeah. If so, that video's the only direct evidence you have. But that video is next to useless. It's full of blind spots.
Blind spots?
Places you can't see. The camera's panning back and forth. The floor isn't shown. If someone was familiar with the camera's positions, they could leave the room without being caught on tape. We don't have time for your speculations, Mr. Wright.
Well, Mr. Wright, if you can show us evidence in this video that indicates Officer Marshall was present, please do so now.
There is evidence in the video, though. Very well. Allow me to point out your mistake, Officer Marshall. Tread carefully, Mr. Wright, or you might wind up with the one making the mistake.
Now then, let's have another look at the video. Show us this incriminating evidence on the witness, Officer Jake Marshall.
Very well. Watch and look carefully. Actually, we'll start by rewinding, just so we can start at a very clear shot. We have just now heard that this specific locker is Officer Jake Marshall's, to which he is discerning that it was unfortunately a coincidence that a bloody handprint happened to be on this locker. And that's fine. That is perfectly fine. However, there is something that is not quite so coincidental about it. Watch. We come to the end of this footage, and in doing so, we see the locker there. We see it blocked out. We see him go along. Meekins meets up with someone, and now Jake Marshall is in there. Jake Marshall then somehow at some point leaves this room. We're not entirely sure where, but watch as. Look right here. Notice how there's something now sticking out of this locker? There's no way to open and stick something in this locker unless you are the one who can open it. That only person is Officer Jake Marshall. Bringing our attention back to the security camera is a mistake. I'm afraid you'll soon not forget, Officer Marshall. The days are short in Texas, and so are our tempers. Could you sum up what you have to say in 8 words or less? Very well. You can clearly be seen in this video! Exactly 8 words. Not bad, partner. The key lies in a certain locker shown in the video.
That locker with the white cloth sticking out? What was the witnesses? That was the witnesses, I believe.
Now then, let's rewind the video a bit to before any of this happened. If only we could do this bit faster. Yep. To before then, we can see that in doing so, there is nothing in the locker.
Oh, the white cloth, it's gone. What is the meaning of this, Officer Marshall?
When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. Then it suddenly appeared. There's only one explanation. Officer Marshall, you were in the evidence room at the time of the crime. What's more, you opened your locker when the camera was turned away.
Order! Order! It would seem that only...
Hold your horses. Sorry, partner, but you got the wrong man. So what if my locker was opened? That doesn't mean I'm the one who opened it. Oh, this is gonna go well. The murderer needed to hide something, so he opened a locker and stuck it in. It's not my fault he happened to choose mine. Why is everyone staring at me like I'm a wanted man? This guy isn't just playing dumb. He really doesn't know. I hate to rain on your parade, but you're the only person who can open that particular locker. Oh yeah? I'll call your bluff. You say I opened that locker, now prove it. Very well. Fingerprint sensor? We talked about this earlier today. The lockers can only be opened by detectives they belong to. What kind of crazy talk is this? Well, Detective Gumshoe did mention something about this. In any case, the locks aren't that obvious. There are even some people on the force that don't know about the fingerprint locks. So, Sheriff, what do you have to say in 8 words or less?
I only got 1 word for you, partner. No! Order! 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 Witness! Explain yourself!
If this is a joke, it's the worst I've ever heard. I assure you this is no joke, Officer Marshall. Now then, please tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime.
Ole! Please answer the question!
What is he now, a bullfighter? That's alright, Officer Marshall. I believe I can figure this out. I believe we can figure out the rest from here.
We can?
Have a look at these floor plans. There is no place for someone to hide in the evidence room. Yet Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall.
If that's so, then where was the witness?
It seems Mr. Wright has an answer. That's right. The only possible conclusion.
Well then, let's hear it. Where was the officer marshal at the time of the crime?
He would be... There's only one possible location. Officer Marshall was standing here!
There? But that's where the victim, Detective Goodman, was.
Correct. Unless the man wasn't Detective Goodman. I believe the victim in this video is Officer Marshall. It was you dressed up like Detective Goodman! But that's preposterous! Officer Meekins witnessed the detective at the crime scene. Once he saw the man's face, he'd know for sure. May I point out, though, that Officer Meekins did not know Detective Goodman. He also testified about the man's reaction when confronted.
When I entered the evidence room, I asked him to show his ID card, sir.
Yes, and how did Detective Goodman respond?
He suddenly pulled a knife on me.
Something about the officer's story puzzled me. If the man had his ID card, why didn't he just show it?
Yes, he would have needed it to enter the evidence room, so he must have been carrying it.
The answer is simple. He couldn't show it. As you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on his ID card.
Oh, I get it!
If he showed that, his cover would have been blown. Officer Meekins would have realized the man wasn't Detective Goodman. Do you have anything to say to this, Officer Marshall?
You've got quite an imagination, partner. We got a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence.
Circumstantial evidence? He's still denying it.
You're gonna have to do better than that to break a detective. Unless you have hard evidence proving I dressed up as the victim. I can't say I particularly care for your uncooperative disposition. I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that Officer Marshall dressed up as the victim?
Well, who am I kidding? Of course I don't have anything like that.
I can see the fear in your eyes, partner. Seems you're the one who couldn't take the desert heat.
This can't be happening. It's so obvious he's the one. What can I do? It looks like your lack of experience has finally been exposed. I'll pass on to you what someone just told me when I was just starting out. When you've run into a wall with no place to go, return to the basics. The basics? Okay, for me, that would be what Mia used to tell me. Phoenix, try to think outside the box. I shouldn't look for proof that Officer Marshall was in disguise, but rather I should look for evidence that came about because he was in disguise. Why do you think the locker was opened in the first place?
What do you mean?
There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open his locker at the time of the crime. Yet he did, despite the chance he might be discovered later, as it has been. Which means he didn't originally plan to open his locker.
According to the defense's arguments, Officer Jake Marshall dressed as Detective Goodman at the time of the crime. Then after the crime was committed, he opened his own locker for some unknown reason.
The bloody overcoat! He didn't intend to meet someone there. The fact that a white cloth is sticking out of the locker seems to indicate that. He opened it in order to put the cloth inside.
So, just what exactly is this piece of cloth?
Let's look through this here. Let's go through what was exactly planned to happen. Security camera goes through, in, and out. Officer Jake Marshall, posing as Detective Goodman, knew that no one was there, knew that he'd be the one to erase the tapes. He could erase this tape that's showing him walking through. He walks on in there. What he did not plan for was for an altercation to occur. He had the knife in case of, but didn't plan for it. He opens the locker, looking for something inside, not sure what it is he was looking for. However, what he ended up finding was Officer Meekins here, who ends up finding him. Officer Meekins confronts him. In doing so, he asks him to show his ID card. He turns around, slashes at the man's hand. He goes into a rage and an altercation occurs, at which point then Meekins passes out. However, there is a huge blood stain on the coat. Marshall couldn't just walk out of the evidence room looking like that. So if anyone else was out there, they'd immediately know something had happened. He had to dispose of it. Perhaps the video is the key to all our unanswered questions. I don't have any evidence, so this video is my only shot.
Very well. Let's take yet another look at this security tape. After committing the crime, the witness opened the locker to put away the white cloth. Please show us why the witness had to open his locker.
The answer is the thing he was not planning for. It's obvious. He wouldn't need to do that otherwise. Look here. Look at this white overcoat. Perfectly pristine. No problems whatsoever. However, look at what ends up happening after the altercation. Right here. There's blood. He grabs for... Right here, you can see, if we rewind a little bit, the hand that's grabbed is the left hand here. This is the hand that was slashed. So, keep an eye on what happens when Meekins lunges at him. He goes for this man's right side here. After the altercation, look, you can see it right here. Right here. Look at this massive blood stain that's now all over right here. There's no way he could leave from this. For some reason, you disguised yourself as Detective Goodman and entered the evidence room, though I don't know to what end. Yet. However, something unexpected happened. Officer Meekins barged in on you. When asked to show you your ID card, you pulled a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked, and the white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood.
A bloodied white coat?
You couldn't just walk out like that, so you hid the coat in your locker.
Not bad, partner. Now then, Officer Marshall, are you ready to tell us the truth?
Looks like I underestimated y'all. I hope you're happy now, Esther Edgeworth.
2 years ago, if you were only half as persistent as you are then today, we all wouldn't have to be here now would we?
Officer Marshall, tell the court what you did. All of it.
All right. It seems the time has come.
Marshall's confession.
I had to do it that day. I couldn't just stand by and let it die. I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I planned to take the evidence. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out. I managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on the camera. There wasn't any murder in that evidence room at 5:15. Uh-oh. So the supposed victim was really you?
But there's one thing I still don't understand. Traces of a large quantity of blood were found on the floor in the evidence room. If no one was murdered, then how could that be?
Officer Meekins managed to cut his own hand. My guess is he's the donor.
It was way too much blood for such a small donation, though. You had to do it, but why? I couldn't just stand by and let it die. Let what die? When you say it, you mean...
Do you even have to ask, partner?
The SL9 incident. 2 years have passed since that case was solved. It was going to completely end with the transferal that day.
Not if I have anything to do with it. That incident's not over.
But what did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room?
When a case is closed, only that case's lead detective can look through the evidence. I wanted to have a look at it myself one more time. No matter what the cost. I don't care what anyone says, partner. This case is mine.
But Officer Marshall wasn't in charge of that investigation. Why does he care so much about it? That day was my last chance. That's why. Why did you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman? If I didn't make it look like Goodman was carrying out the evidence transferal, I'd be arrested for stealing evidence, which wouldn't get me anywhere. So you did it to fool the security camera?
And the detective's ID card?
I stole that the morning of the incident. So it really was why Goodman was starting to fill out that lost item report. I returned his ID card. I left it on the floor in the prosecutor's parking lot. The ID card we found left by Officer Marshall. So essentially, you managed to succeed despite your lack of foresight. What do you mean, partner? I mean the fingerprint-activated lock, of course. No matter how well you disguised yourself, you can't change your fingerprints. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have been able to open the locker by yourself. But he could have just because a rubber glove happened to get stuck in the door. That means Detective Goodman must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall. I wasn't expecting Meekins. You pulled a knife on Officer Meekins and tried to drive him off? Let's just say I was a little surprised. I only planned on being in the evidence room for no more than 5 minutes. I didn't think anyone would actually come in during that short time.
Officer Meekins certainly is a one-in-a-million type of person. Mistaking a detective for an intruder and demanding to be shown his ID.
I'll have to think a little more about his raise this year. When did Edgeworth get so much influence? Anyway, he threw himself at me and I ended up cutting him slightly. I'm sorry it had to turn out that way. With me knocking him out and everything. By the way, what happened to your knife? Oh, you mean this one? I don't know what to say here.
So you knocked Officer Meekins out and...
I managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on the camera. So you did your research beforehand? Those who go into the deserts unprepared don't live long, partner. I didn't think it wouldn't make much difference, though. The security tape is erased every 6 hours. If all had gone to plan, no footage would have been left. However, you bloodied your coat in your struggle with Officer Meekins. If someone was in the security room when I came out, the jig would be up. I opened my locker and stashed it in there. What was Officer Meekins doing at that time? What else? He was sleeping like a baby.
So what you're saying is on that day...
There wasn't a murder in that evidence room at 5:15. But the blood found at the scene certainly indicates a crime took place. What are you, blind? The victim shown in that tape is me, and I'm not dead yet, partner. So you stole the evidence from the locker? Actually, no I didn't. Why not? When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone.
What? Mr. Edgeworth, where is the evidence?
It's still missing, Your Honor. Detective Goodman's locker was already empty? Someone else stole the evidence. Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing? Fire away, partner. It's a free country. Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer. Why did you do this? Stealing a detective's ID, injuring a police officer, this is no small offense. Moreover, you're an officer yourself. This will have serious consequences. It can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in salary. Not that salary cuts are ever a valid solution. Like I said, this ain't your case. This one is mine. And I'll do anything it takes to get an answer I'm satisfied with.
The witness has an unusual amount of zeal. Let's hear more.
I can't just forgive the assailant incident. You know why. Your brother. But that case was solved 2 years ago, wasn't it?
That's the reason the evidence was stored in the evidence room.
Joe Dark was convicted for his crimes. One thing I can say for sure is he deserved his sentence.
I remember the Joe Dark case. It involved serial murderers, didn't it?
I don't intend to complain about how it turned out, but there's something that still bothers me. Something went down in that trial. Something no one will talk about.
What happened?
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to find out. Why is he so concerned with that incident? Maybe I should present him with what I think his real reason is. I had a feeling we'd wind up here sooner or later. Everyone involved here is related in some way to this case. I'd better take another look at the files. I can't believe, yeah, there was a marshal, was one of his victims. Yeah. Officer Marshall, I think I understand. I think I know why you care so much about the SL9 incident. Sounds like you've been sipping too much cactus juice, partner. I have the SL9 incident file here. The name Marshall is mentioned here. In a list of murder victims. Neil Marshall. You're related, aren't you? Neil Marshall? Yeah, I'm sure you've heard the name. 2 years ago, he received the same lousy prosecutor award you got.
What? A prosecutor?
You must be talking about the King of Prosecutors Award. Now I remember. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He handled the SL9 case before I did.
That's right. He was killed, and the case fell into your hands. But what's his real relation to you? He was my brother. He was investigating the murders with Damon Gant, the deputy chief of police. The group of detectives I was part of worked under them. We were desperate to prosecute this killer. Joe Dark. My brother fought Joe Dark and was killed. That was the first time Dark left behind any evidence. This was all we needed. He was arraigned and incarcerated. The case was finally closed. At least according to the public records. What do you mean? My brother couldn't have been killed by Joe Dark. I know my brother better than anyone. No one could have beaten him in a fight.
And that's it? That's your reason for your insane actions?
There's more to my brother's death than what the records say. No matter how much you try to hide it, you can't fool me. Well, at least one thing's for certain. Now we know what happened at the police department on the day of the crime.
That was the last day the SL9 case would be reopened. Not satisfied with its resolution, Officer Marshall planned to steal the evidence. Disguising himself as Detective Goodman, he entered the evidence room. Officer Meekins confronted him, so he rendered him unconscious and fled. Yes, this mystery has finally been cleared up. No murder took place at the police department that day. Things that happen by chance never cease to amaze me. At exactly the same time as the murder at the prosecutor's office, this fake murder was going on at the police department. Chance? It's gotta be more than just that.
So if no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, that means the murder in the prosecutor's office parking lot was the real one.
Which in turn means only one person could have committed the crime. Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye. But wait! A verdict wasn't reached in yesterday's trial. Which is why we examined the incident at the police department today. But there's only one reason the defendant was not convicted yesterday. There yet remained the mystery of the simultaneous murder at the police department. It seems to me, this boy's got the draw on you, partner. all of the mysteries at the police department have been resolved. No doubt about it. Our sole murderer took place at the prosecutor's office. The only suspect is Lana Skye. And the testimony of one Angel Star is completely incontestable. If you have a response, make it a single word or less. I rest my case.
It seems this trial has reached its conclusion. There can be no room for doubt.
Well done, Mr. Wright. Thanks to you, I didn't need to waste my time disproving the alleged murder at the police department. Shh, damn it. There's no doubt what I proved today is true. The apparent murder on the security camera's tape really was fake. But I didn't realize that would end up proving Lana guilty.
Now then, the time for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant.
Uh-oh. Who's holding it? Emma? Your Honor, wait! Emma, what are you doing here? Emma? The defense has an objection. A scientific objection. Right? What do you mean, right?
Mr. Wright? Are you this girl's guardian?
Your Honor? Oh, I mean, in a sense. Please, Your Honor, all I'm asking is for a minute of your time. Please hear me out. Mr. Edgeworth, please. I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute? I'll give you 3. I was kind of in shock. I mean, finding out the SL9 incident referred to the Joe Dark killings. Now that she mentions it, the names of both Sky Sisters were in this file. But that's when I figured it out. I mean, what Officer Marshall is trying to do that day? So I knew his fingerprint had nothing to do with the crime. That left only one thing. The other handprint. You mean the traces of blood found on the Detective Gumshoe's locker?
But no fingerprints were found on it, right?
No, but I figured it was examined scientifically. I'd be sure to find a clue. So I ran over there and looked at it again. So you did find something? No. Huh? Sorry. I guess I'm not much of a scientific investigator after all. Is that all? Please don't be mad. I'm just a high school student. And I'm just an attorney. But Mr. Wright, those traces of blood are the only clue we have. If we can't find something wrong with them, please, Mr. Wright, you're the professional here. If anyone can save Lana, it's you. Me? Oh boy.
Time's up. Now then, Mr. Wright. With regarding the incident at the police department, does any reasonable doubt remain?
It appears the defense is troubled by the other blood mark. Alright, let's look back in this then. Let's look back. Can we see... No. Can we see the, on the tape? Can we see it at all? Can we see it? Damn it, we can't see it! It's perfectly blocked! That's not good. But if it's perfectly blocked... Wait a minute. Wait. This is really important. Really important. Marshall walks... Look at this. Look on the tape. Look on the tape. Marshall walked in front of the Blue Badger. The Blue Badger is perfectly cutting off that bloodied handprint. If that's the case, then... Meekins, please tell us you walk in front of it. Oh, we can't tell if he does or doesn't, but at least one person walked in front of it. Okay. Looking at the floor plans, a handprint was discovered around here. Is there a problem with this? Mr. Wright, I'm sorry I can't be of more use, but still... If you can't find anything wrong with that blood mark, Lana will be...
Please answer my question, Mr. Wright. We don't have all day.
Yes, Your Honor. If I've ever needed to concentrate, it's now. What could be wrong with that handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker? The blue badger is in front of it. That's the only thing we've got. Could there be something I'm missing? Yes, the blue badger's not there. Let's put the blue badger in for the time. This handprint left at the crime scene clearly shows a contradiction. The only thing that seems clear is your grasping, Mr. Wright.
You've been staring pretty intently at those floor plans. Tell me, is there a problem with them?
Yes, it is strange. Well, take a good look at these floor plans. Something is missing. Missing? You mean something hasn't been drawn on there? Yes, something that, when drawn, will completely change the meaning of the blood mark.
Let us pray the defense isn't simply trying to buy time. Very well, Mr. Wright.
With all this evidence here, there's got to be something I can use.
The question is, which item can prove something is missing from the floor plans?
The blue badger itself. For some reason, it's there. Was allegedly dancing in the evidence room at the time of the murder. What about that piece of plywood? The blue badger, mascot of the police force. Defender of truth, guardian of proof. Explain yourself, Wright. Please look at the floor plans of the crime scene. The blue badger is not here. So what's what happens when we put him in? This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime. Well?
Well, what?
That's right. So long as the blue badger is dancing here, it would be impossible to place a handprint at this spot on the locker!
What?
So there's another reason for another bloodied handprint?
So that means... what exactly does this mean?
It means it can't be done.
What are you saying? Blood traces were undeniably found on that locker?
Well, don't look at me, I didn't put it there. Mr. Wright, think it through scientifically. Emma? On that afternoon, Officer Meekins was the one who brought the blue badger to the evidence room, right? After he put it down, it would be impossible to leave a handprint on that locker. So that must mean this blood mark was left there before the blue badger was brought in?
Just one moment. I will not allow such far-fetched balderdash in my courtroom.
Well, it may sound far-fetched, Your Honor, but it's the only possible explanation. On February 21st, in the police department's evidence room, blood was spilled not once, but twice! But how? One time was captured on this tape, taken by the security camera. Officer Meekins cut his hand from which a trivial amount of blood fell. The problem is the other time. Great, so we've now got two murders, and the murder occurred being twice. Someone bled prior to the struggle shown on this tape. It had to have been. It had to have been Detective Goodman when he was really murdered! That's ridiculous. I refuse to accept your absurd claim. The murder portrayed on this security tape has been proven to be fake. However, that does not explain the blood mark found on the locker. So then, assuming this murder you purport really happened, when did it take place? I demand you show evidence that proves when it occurred. When did the first incident occur?
To summarize, the defense claims that prior to Officer Meekins being cut by Jake Marshall, who was possessing as Detective Goodman, another incident took place in that evidence room.
That's right. The blood marked on the locker proves this.
Very well. Then tell us. When did this first incident occur, as Mr. Edgeworth? As Mr. Edgeworth said, proof must be presented.
Proof that shows when the murder took place. There's only one piece of evidence that can show it.
Now then, will the defense please present its evidence? When was this first crime took place?
It's gotta be coming down to the most important thing here. Here's the most important thing that we've all been overlooking. When the door is opened, we have all been assuming that one person entered and one person left. We have an unknown time, 20 minutes before Edgeworth went in there, where anything could have happened. Right there. If the crime took place inside the evidence room, then the killer would have had to enter it. In order to do so, an ID card would have been required.
An ID card? Oh, well, the ID card record.
Officer Meekins brought the Blue Badger panel into the evidence room at,
well, let's see here, 5:40 p.m. If the crime took place before that time, then that would be 4:40 p.m. Miles Edgeworth, just what have you done? I never would have figured you had the nerve, boy.
Drop the act, witness. It doesn't take a lot of thought to figure out it couldn't have been me.
Nope, I ain't getting it. I'm afraid I don't understand either.
It's clear from the luminol testing that blood was there. However, when the second crime took place, both Officer Meekins and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood. Well, that means the blood from the first crime was wiped away by the real murderer. I would have had just 10 minutes to murder the victim, carry his body away, and clean up the blood. Unfortunately, that's physically impossible.
That would mean the crime must have taken place before Mr. Edgeworth entered the evidence room.
Let's look at the chart again. There's only one other card number remaining. 7777777.
Talk about a lucky number. But wait, that doesn't make any sense. How could Detective Bruce Goodman have entered the evidence room?
Since there's no record of his card being used beforehand, he must have entered along with the real murderer. That's the only plausible explanation. He went in with 7 sevens.
Mr. Edgeworth, please look into this ASAP. Find out whose ID number is 7777777.
That's 1 7 too many, Your Honor. Unfortunately, I'm unable to look up the owner of that ID card. At least at present. What? Explain yourself, son. The ID number 7 sevens belong to someone with the rank of captain or higher. Someone who is so-called executive officer. We don't have the authority to inquire into such a person's identity. But that's ridiculous! Just how... I'm not finished talking, Mr. Wright. There is one situation in which we can be granted such authority.
If an officer charge filed against an executive is accepted. If an official charge filed against an executive is accepted.
An official charge?
You're all alike, aren't you? With your cover-ups and your forgeries. That's how the prosecutor's office operates.
I take pride in my work, Officer Marshall. I would appreciate it if you kept your slander to yourself.
Slander, is it? Okay. Let me ask you a question.
Yes?
No, not you. To her, the defendant sitting over there. Your own little executive.
Lana? Don't be stupid. She's been charged with murder. Of course we've looked up her number, and it's not 7 sevens.
Don't play me for a fool, partner. That's not what I wanted to ask. All I want to know is one thing about that incident. The SL9 incident? Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. In that trial 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence?
Do you need the witness to repeat his question, Chief Prosecutor? I heard him fine, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution for that trial. At the time, occasionally, we felt the powerlessness of the law. At least, I did. Lana. I became a prosecutor in order to suppress crime with the law. But before I realized it, we were the ones being suppressed by the law.
Defendant, just what are you saying?
I'll ask you again, Chief Prosecutor. During that trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence in court? Can you look me in the eye, an investigator in that crime, and say you did?
Chief Prosecutor, you didn't!
I don't have to, Officer Marshall. Why won't you answer him? Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. But Lana! Even if it involved forging evidence. Well, shit. Well, shit. That's... See? That's what I'm talking about. No. No! Order! Lana's remarks caused such a stir. The chaos in the courtroom could not be quelled. The conclusion of the trial would have to wait until the following day. Oh, Jesus, that's not great at all in the slightest. So, yeah. Oh, boy. Well, that happened. Oh, boy. So, now we have not the best situation on hand. We've ended up in a situation that isn't particularly great for us or anyone involved or anything at all. So that's not particularly great. Yeah, that's really not too great, to be perfectly honest. But let's look at the positives. We said the trial is going to last another day. That's perfect for us. We've got our extra day. We've just got a lot to try and process and get through. Because if not, well, then we've got a problem. A big problem. But we'll worry about that problem next time. For now, we're going to go ahead and end things off. If you do want to find and follow us, then you'll have to look for the Twitter. But next time, we'll hopefully wrap this case up. But for now, we'll see you next time.